don't need a countdown here. Just go for it.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
God, that's an old intro.
And welcome to NBC, Monday Night Football. And all right, I'm Bob Costas. No. Anyway, now I see some people bitching about the it's called the cake the cake ruling, because that's what they're basing on. The Colorado baker out here, and the court sided with the baker. You cannot force a baker to do something, bake sort of cake on there that that goes against their belief. People are they're going to bake a cake. This is not some sheet cake from Safeway.
No,
Wedding cakes are
artist.
a very elaborate thing. Yeah, these are very elaborate.
This is okay.
Hundreds of dollars. These things.
I've tried to explain this to people for a long time. When you're in a creative field, anything that you do, you're putting your heart, soul, your emotion, your passion, your name on.
Yeah, that's the thing. Your name.
Trying to tell people that you have to bake a certain thing and say certain things on it, or you have to paint a certain thing, or write a certain thing, or you have to make certain artwork.
Yeah.
That violates all kinds of constitutional rights for a reason.
Yeah,
you're making people violate their autonomy of themselves in order to please somebody else. Look, as an artist, you can't make me draw you a picture. You can't make me write you a story. If you want somebody who will write those stories, draw those pictures, you find somebody who will write those stories, draw those pictures. Picture the equivalent of somebody Christian going into a Wiccan artist store and demanding they make them crosses.
Or I was thinking, let's say the Klan want to make a big cake and they go to a Jewish baker. Not gonna happen. Okay.
Go to a native baker, because they actually do still like to do leaflet drops and harassment on the reservations.
Yeah.
That still happens. There are still Klan members doing that shit.
Oh yeah.
In fact, they did it in my mom's little town in the mountains once. And they weren't local. They don't live there. They go through all these small towns in more native or minority communities.
Yeah.
They go through these small towns on the outskirts of reservations and stuff, and they leaflet bomb them with anti-minority papers.
Yikes.
And they do it still.
Yeah.
I've seen it done.
And the other aspect of this is that it's not like it's some kind of, especially like out here, you could find gay bakers and gay florists. In fact, I remember when this whole thing started going down, it was a video by a gay guy, and he identified this. They specifically targeted this bakery. They were not trying to find a thing. God knows there's enough gay bakers that will happily bake you a cake for your gay wedding, and provide or gay florists. For the love of God, try and find a non-gay florist.
This is tied to the original case that happened years ago, right?
Yeah, this is.
I've read, double checked, but I couldn't remember that part because my head's a bit foggy from dealing with all the smoke the last week here. That case had multiple layers to it. First of all, the women that did this were regular customers of this bakery. They were never turned away for their sexuality. They were never turned away when they were sitting at the table smooching each other, eating.
Yeah,
they were not turned away at having a wedding cake. They were turned away at having them write specific messages on it that they morally object to. And when they turned them away, they called into other bakers and got them a deal to help give them a discount elsewhere to get it.
Yeah, a lot of times they'll tell you, try these guys down there. They'll do you better. You think that?
What they said is, I'm sorry, based on my faith, I cannot write that. It's violating it because of what you want. But I know some bakers who I think can do it for you. Let me call them and see if I can get you a discount. And they did.
Yeah.
They did everything they could to try to help these women get what they wanted and still adhere to their beliefs.
But you got people driving this thing that are not trying to get service. They're trying to make a statement. They're trying to get people to submit to what. No, you must endorse. It's not just acceptance anymore. You must endorse us. You must have, and then why you need constant affirmation and endorsement of your lifestyle. Live your life. Leave me alone. And again, it's like these are sort of things. Why would you go to this person for a cake or a flower arrangement, knowing that they are very much opposed to what you're doing.
I'll look at it this way with another situation going on right now. With all the issues with the pride parades and if you call out the sexuality in the streets, oh, you're anti-gay. It's like, no. See, I've been calling out
your junk in front of a 5-year-old. Okay.
I have been calling out people who will not behave sexually correct in public or around children of any sex, any race, any gender, any sexuality since I was a kid and used to find it repugnant to see people doing it. I have been consistent on this to everyone, no matter what walk of life you're in.
Yeah.
The fact that some people find it bigoted to a specific sect, if you oppose the predators in that sect, tells you that that's actually what they think of everybody in that sexuality and in that sect. Because if they didn't think they were all that, they wouldn't be defending it as hard.
It's like the Gays Against Groomers truck that always shows up at these things. People were spitting on it. Okay, does that mean you're in favor of grooming kids? Because it took decades for the gay movement in general to try and get rid of that image that we're all a bunch of pedophiles. And here these guys are charging to bring it back. You're setting back gay rights 50 freaking years.
I treat them, these people that are pushing the sexuality into the gay movement, that where they're going after kids and they're using it to try to go after people they want to prey on that are women and stuff.
Yeah.
Guess what? I don't care which side of which aisle you're in. You're repugnant. I am equal on this. Let me use an example. I will use a group that people that I stream with have actually sat and streamed with these people and talked to them. Let's go for the shot. Milo fucking Llanos and Gavin McInnes.
Yeah.
Sexual predator and a fucking foreigner who is actually trying to overthrow the government.
Gavin has blocked a lot of stuff in my book.
Neither of them are American. Neither of them should be allowed to keep their partial citizenship when they're advocating criminal behavior against our government. Kick them the fuck out. And while you're at it, throw Sirtis and McFadden out with them because they're actually advocating overthrowing governments and laws too. And they're not American either. Fuck them, all four. I don't care which side of the aisle you're on. All four of them, fuck off, kick them out.
I think Marina Sirtis has gone back to England.
She keeps coming back over here and living here part-time, and I don't care. She's openly called for and defended riots in the streets against different groups and shutting down people's voices if she doesn't approve of them and stuff. McFadden does it too, and she openly tells people she buys votes and buys off things to screw with elections in smaller states. Fuck them both, kick them out.
Yeah, let one of these riots reach their house.
McFadden, I still want to know why McFadden thinks she has the right to run around and say, if you're white, you're racist, when she's an embodiment of the whitest of the white.
She couldn't be any whiter. Come on.
She is Celtic, and I forget the exact tribe, but she's part of the tribe that's literally the Norwegian that blended with it's on the belt near Czech, but it's actually part of the Nordic that blended with them. And it's one of the whitest races in Europe.
Yeah, McFadden.
That's
a Jewish name. Yeah.
And she is sitting out there trying to call herself. This is why I know I got under her skin. Because when she went out and did that, if you're white, you're racist, that I posted, but you're white.
Yeah.
And it started a war that cost me my first Twitter account, first of all. It had a lot of people spamming her with "Shut Up, Beverly." But besides that, it's really interesting that ever since then she's been running around trying to claim herself a person of color on fucking Twitter and try to play herself off as a minority.
What?
You didn't see that? It's in her bio.
Oh God.
At least it has been until as of a week ago when I rechecked her page.
Let me look at this.
She listed it as herself as a hashtag BIPOC. She declared it in her bio for at least a long time. I don't know if she still does.
Let's see.
Now I'm curious, actually. She changed that after that fight with me and had it in her bio for like 3 years.
I'm not sure she's still on. Oh, here we go.
So now,
let's see. Actress, director, podcaster, believes in truth, ethics, equality.
Oh, I can't.
Cameo. No. Oh, there we are. Hashtag BIPOC.
I can't see her anymore. She blocked me again. Freaking whiny bitch.
Surprisingly, nobody's blocked me on this thing.
Picardo blocked me too because I called him out for his attacking women for not being feminist.
Well, I've called him out directly a few times.
Because he literally sat there and to a woman who actually did a video talking about the abuse she went through, the reasons why she no longer considers herself feminist. He did this tirade post calling her sexist things and basically saying she's a pick-me and who's the guy pulling her strings because no woman would actually think this way and shit like that. And it's like, no, wait, yourself. I don't give a shit who you think you are. I don't give a shit how much of your acting I've like. Go fuck yourself. You don't speak for women. How dare you?
Yeah. No, I called up Picardo on things. He's talking about, you should denounce the thing. Okay, let's turn this around on him. Suppose some crazed China Beach fan went on a rampage because he's just so fixated on your character, Dick Rich. Are you going to, should you go out and denounce him? Or you're a dirtbag? Like, it works both ways there, Bob.
To be fair, I think actually the ones Armin Shimmer, whatever, the one who played Quark, while he's liberal, he seems to at least actually listen to both sides and actually criticize both sides.
He's not a knee-jerk guy. Yeah.
Michael Dorn, I don't even know what the fuck he believes. Michael Dorn does not speak politics when he's talking to fans or dealing with fans.
He's a smart guy.
He is absolutely respectful to fans no matter who they seem to be.
He's a fan himself. He's one of the only other cats that would actually watch the show. when they got home.
He's also the one who loved it so much.
Yeah.
He asked them to put him on DS9 because he didn't want to quit the job.
Yeah.
Michael Dorn, I can't find him saying things political. All I can find him saying is how much he loves his fans no matter who they are.
Yeah. I think he's watched around. Look at that. Yeah, nobody likes Marie anymore because she shot her mouth off. And no, my politics are my business. I'm not going to get into it.
And as much as people bitch about Wheaton, and he's a liberal, but he's actually one of the ones that's less of an ass to fans about his politics.
Yeah.
The reasons people bitch about Wheaton is when he left the show, he was an ass.
Yeah.
He openly says that. He was a douchebag. He was an arrogant prick.
Yeah.
He says it himself. And a lot of people haven't gotten past that. They haven't.
Yeah.
And I've actually looked a lot into Wheaton. There's a lot of stuff he says I don't agree with, but I don't think he's the ass people play him as.
He plays it up a lot. He's trying to be another George Carlin.
He does a bit because he likes being talked about. He has a bit of an ego.
It's part of being an actor.
But he also for a long time was running a web series called Tabletop.
Yeah.
The entire series was him trying to get people of all walks of life and geekdom to get together at his house with his wife and play tabletop games and grow and find common ground with each other.
Okay, I think I figured out why. One of my little errands today was getting an Allen wrench to work on my, do the setup on my guitars. What I needed was a 1.5 millimeter. These are not metric. That's why.
I'm sorry, but at least he's trying to find ways to bring people together, right?
Yeah.
And also, I'm sorry, I have to give something to a guy who, he didn't marry for who was considered a bombshell. He didn't marry for somebody who was rich or something. He married his hairdresser.
Yeah. And she's cute.
And he adopted her kids.
Mm-hmm.
And he has been a better father to them than their father was.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You have to give him that. Whether you like him or not, you have to give him. He's a fucking good father and he's a good husband.
Yeah, my main criticism right now is on the show that he's got, the Radio Room. It's a little bit of a Monty Hall there going there.
His shows are weird. Yeah. Although actually, I would say the one that I wish had gone better was actually the Will Wheaton project, which didn't last long. Because that was actually just him bullshitting jokes and then playing weird little mini skits and jokes and stuff that was done. They had a whole bit with somebody voicing Skeletor, making fun of him constantly and telling him to go to hell and talk about how great it'd be when you're off air and shit like that, torturing him halfway through the series. And at one shot, he makes this joke about how horrible the movies on Sci-Fi Channel are, and then goes, "Ooh, the hand that feeds me tastes good." Because the show was on Sci-Fi Channel as he made the joke. Or in other words, don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I know, everybody knows how horrific Sharknado was as a series. Yeah, it was done intentionally to be horrific, to make fun of bad horror movies. And
okay, nobody started to make a bad movie. Oh, they did.
No. Yeah. Let's be honest. Yeah. A lot of these D to B level horror movies are intentionally made bad to be comical.
They know they're making crap. Okay, they're just gonna have some fun with it.
It's like watching. You watch bad Sci-Fi Channel horror movies for the same reason you would watch Hallmark Christmas movies, because they're so ridiculous. You can pause them for 6 hours making fun of it, and you can laugh your ass off at the joke. It's one of those things you hate watch and love to hate watch. And I've done it. I've done it on both. I have done it on both. No shame in it. No shame in it. But in the second, I think it was the second one out of the Sharknadoes, one of the victims in the plane when they started flying through the tornadoes, which is how ridiculous it is. One of the victims in the planes was Wheaton.
Okay.
So if you actually want to watch that, you can watch him die if you hate him out there, people. Just saying.
Paycheck. Okay. Let me scoot over here, but I'm going to get another soda. Yeah, hopefully I can win.
But
okay, yeah.
Look, he was a prick when he left the show, and I don't think he was far off from the character he played in Flubber actually when he was a teenager. Do you remember that movie?
I never watched the remakes. I saw the original way back when.
The original, I like I love the original. I actually loved the version Robin Williams did. And it actually was a good tribute one. It wasn't the crap a lot of remakes are. The high schooler, you remember in the original even, they had the high schooler prick, the spoiled rich kid that was trying to cause all the hell. Yeah.
Well, I was like 5 when we saw this thing on re-release. Okay. So.
In the remake, the rich prick is Will Wheaton. And that was
channel, and everyone ever made fun of him.
And that was made in the mid-90s when he was in that prick mode. So I'm not sure he was actually that far off from his character then. Especially since the people that worked with him on that movie did not seem to enjoy working with him. But it's like they took shot.
I'm still waiting for clarification on his William Shatner story.
When God, I can't name the one who played Nog.
Aaron Eisenberg.
Thank you. I knew Aaron. I couldn't remember the last name. And when he passed away, he was close friends with Wheaton. But Wheaton, because he was in that I hate Star Trek phase for a long time because of how bitter it was when he left. Yeah. Never watched DS9 when he was on it. When he passed away, he made a post basically saying that I never actually watched the show, so I feel like in honor of my friend passing away, I should watch it all and see the work he did. I didn't see that as disrespectful.
No.
All these people making fun of it, going, "You're trying to make this about you." It's like you're doing this and all this. It's like he just said, "I wish I miss my friend." No. I never watched this because I was being a prick at the time, and he even acknowledged that. But in honor of my friend passing, I want to see the work he did. I don't see that as disrespectful. No. I never did then, and a lot of the people that are even in the online communities went ballistic on him, saying you're just wanting to make his death about you. It's like he was close friends with him. He was on multiple shows of his. They did interviews together. This was not made up. No. They were friends.
No, I met Aaron once. Steph and I both met him at a convention. He was out here once, and I did lock horns a couple of times on Facebook on various things. But it was nothing strictly hateful about it.
They were friends.
It's like, no, you're wrong on this, Aaron.
It's okay to dislike somebody and to think they're a prick. Yeah. But don't make every single thing they do something it isn't just because you want to hate them. Even Sirtis and McFadden, I can acknowledge when they do something right. Granted, it's not very often, but I can acknowledge it.
Yeah.
But, and going on that, I don't think Brent Spiner is as prickish as he comes off sometimes.
He plays it up a lot. I think, but
I think he plays it up a bit. Yeah. But if you actually look at his comments last few years, they're like extremely hot, cold with no reason to switch between.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he's not having some old age issues based on the speech pattern and the inconsistency. And that's not something he ever had before until about 3-4 years ago. And I'm not going to hate on somebody with that. It's the same reason I don't get mad at some of the stupid stuff that Eric Idle has said, because he's not acting stable like he used to. I'm not going to hate on somebody because old age is going to fuck all of us in some way.
I'm on the phone with Eric Idle. He's actually acknowledged a few posts of mine.
See, I try to give some grace. I try to give some understanding. When there's obviously something beyond what we're seeing that doesn't add up, I try to give them space.
Yeah.
I do that with Idol because there's obviously something there. I've seen some weird ticks and stuff in interviews and stuff where he's not seeming okay.
Yeah.
And so it's the same with Spiner. I've seen some weird things that don't add up. And so because I know they're both getting older and they're having some issues that clearly are not clear what they are, but there's something going on, I give them grace. And if they say something that's stupid or rude, I go, well, they're going through something. Whether it's old age issues or something in the family or something, they're going through something.
For some reason, Eric Idle's going a bit of a monkeys thing on lately. I don't know. Somebody brought up the thing of the monkeys and nothing about the monkeys. Apparently, I'd never heard the term prefab 4 before. But yeah, that's what they call the monkeys.
I looked at, well, first of all, I always thought that was kind of hypocritical because a lot of the stuff they criticized the monkeys for, pretty much every British rock band in the 60s did.
Yeah.
No, but they went after the monkeys and not the others. It's like, okay, you're being a bit of a hypocrite here.
Well, they were a studio creation for us, the take the rip off on the Beatles, but they did, they became a legitimate band.
And to be fair, even a lot of the stuff the Beatles did, they didn't write themselves too. They didn't all write it all themselves. And so you got to give some. They wrote some of it, but they took others, and
it took a while to get enough of a back catalog.
Yeah.
So that second album was like, well, George said they only had like a couple of, they only written a few songs at that point. They showed they could be a powerhouse songwriting wise, but you ain't got a catalog built up. So one of the things Martin did was that we're going to go in the studio and we're going to record every song you know.
Well, that's what I was getting at.
That's where you got a lot of covers early on. Yeah.
Most bands start.
Yeah.
Even back then, a lot of bands started by doing, they'd add their own lyrics to a well-known classical piece, or they do this other, or they do, they'd have somebody they know write a whole bunch of songs that they could pump out real quick while they work on their own catalog. That even in the old days, it's how bands started. You start now, you look at the YouTube era, and a lot of the musicians that are growing now start by going on YouTube and doing covers of popular songs in their own styles.
Yeah.
This is a common thing. It's okay to acknowledge most artists don't write all their own music.
Yeah.
I've done ghostwriting for people. I know. I can name people who you'd be surprised I've ghostwritten and let them take credit before. You'd be surprised some of these rock bands don't always write all their own stuff they're even credited to. Yeah. So, I mean, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
You don't know. Even when they're credited to them, sometimes they have other writers giving them that and saying they can use it and take credit.
Yeah.
There's reasons that's done, and it's not all nefarious. Sometimes it's very honest. It's just trying to grow a catalog and trying not to go through all the harassment and stuff sometimes is enough of a reason.
Now, I just saw a video earlier about kind of confirming some long-standing rumors about the song Come Together. No, not Come Together. Come Together. Now, it originally started off as John doing kind of a riff on a slightly obscure Chuck Berry tune. Even had the opening line, but the beat was very dum 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 dum. Here come on, let that beat them.
For craps.
Paul's like, okay, hold it. That's Chuck Berry. Yeah, but no. We slow this down some. We get a little distance. Okay.
Let's even go to the 90s. Let's go to the popular girl power singers in the 90s. Meredith Brooks did a fucking version of Lay Down.
The old Melody song?
Yeah.
Hmm.
You have no idea when you start hitting these albums how much stuff you can actually find. I mean, it's okay. In fact, well, I'll admit, a lot of songs I still prefer the originals.
Yeah.
Although Violet Orlandi did a fucking badass version of Hotel California. She went full on gothic storytelling and all that into the metal with it, and it worked beautifully in that with the dark storytelling it has.
The thing would come together. Chuck Berry sued him anyway. But I think there's plenty of songs out there that had referenced the flat top on there, so that, and the song had changed so much by that point. No, Chuck, you can't sue him over this one, okay? The Beach Boys we gave you, but you're not getting the Beatles.
Well, Chuck Berry was very talented in a lot of ways. He was also very much a prick in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah.
He was. Yeah. I mean, look, some of the greats knew they were greats, and they really were assholes. And Cary Grant's among them. He was a flaming egomaniac, and it's well documented. But he was fucking suave as hell. Yeah. He earned some of that ego.
Oh, yeah. He worked himself up from the dirt, you know.
But, I mean, you remember the era, originally back in Hollywood, you didn't sign contracts for a movie. You signed contracts for a studio, and they told you which movies you were going to do for the term of that contract. Yeah, you signed your ass with the studios for a number of years. One of his biggest cult classics is one of his most hated movies of all time, and that's Arsenic and Old Lace. He hated it with a passion. He didn't want to do comedy, and he didn't want to do Halloween-based horror. He hated comedy. That's the thing, isn't it? He hated comedy. He hated it. Every single comedy they put him in, he reviled. Man. And he hated horror movies, and he hated Halloween movies. And what is Arsenic and Old Lace? It is a Halloween horror spoofing comedy. Guy. Well, the thing is that all those Boris Karloff jokes were because the play that it was based on.
Yeah, it was played by Boris Karloff.
Yeah. They were actually trying to tie that in because it was supposed to be Karloff, and he couldn't get released from the other studio and to do it. So they literally put all those jokes in for Karloff because he wanted to do it and couldn't.
I think one production Bela Lugosi got the part. Like, hey, you look like a Dracula guy. I think it was a slight shift. No, one of the first things when I got over to England in the Air Force, there a bunch were doing it, and I got kind of brought on the production of Arsenic and Old Lace. So I got to see, okay, there we go.
I actually got to see it, and I don't remember who it was who did it now. When I was in Job Corps in Montana, there was actually a local theater group up in Missoula that actually did a Halloween performance of it, that they actually took the Trailblazers and the higher rank staff students and stuff, those of us who earned high status and did a lot of extra work. They actually took us to see the play and actually have this party in town for Halloween. And I actually got to see it performed as it was originally written, as it was performed on stage before they edited it, which it was kind of interesting because they did partial. They kept some of the stuff that was changed for the movie that was popular with the audience in the theater, because they changed even the theater performances after the movie because it had issues with keeping an audience. Because in the original, what's his name from Happy Dale? Drank the poison wine, and then Jonathan and the others got away. So in the original play, it ended with the serial killers on the loose. So they got rid of that after the movie in every version. And they got rid of it in the movie because it was not popular. It wasn't popular in the theater, and it did not poll popular with the audience for the movie.
I think they got away with it in their version. It was rough on the cast party afterwards. And this is 1985. And they're playing the music, and Madonna's Like a Virgin comes up on the playlist.
Oh, God.
Me and the guy who played the Cary Grant part. We got kind of close. He'd seen some of my drawings and stuff. We both look at each other, and like right on cue, I barely made it through med school. Somehow I made, and just we got a crowd gathered as we're doing Like a Surgeon, note for note, right on cue, in key.
I have a little
Maybe I've got some applause afterwards.
I have a little story on opinion to that. So the reason I did that reaction. Okay, you remember that she came out in the early 80s.
Yeah.
Okay. The first time that she played on the radio when my mom had me as a baby, I was just over a year old. Her stuff played on the radio.
Yeah.
And Mom said about a few seconds into the song, I started screaming and covering my ears and screamed until the song ended.
Okay.
The second time she came on the radio when Mom was taking care of me, I was down crawling around on the floor. And as soon as it came on, I jumped up, screamed, Icky Donnie, and ran over and shut it off.
So not a fan of Madge. Okay.
No. And I still think she's a trap bag and a piece of shit.
Gone to crazy town now. Looks like a guppy.
She was always crazy. And she was always a flaming bigot to anybody religious.
Well, now she looks like a fish.
I still remember, what was it, over a decade ago now, where she did that stupid awards show and she tried to dress like she used to in the old days, and she had her butt hanging out and her butt was sagging so much she had a sling under it holding it up.
Okay, newsflash, Madonna, you're not 30 anymore.
It's like, I'm sorry, if you need a sling to hold your butt up, do not show it to the world.
Okay, yeah.
Nobody wants to look at that. I'm sorry. And you literally could see she actually had the laces of her garter system built underneath the butt cheeks, lifting, trying to hide that it was sagging.
Oh, God.
And oh my God, it was terrible. It was so terrible. And I laughed my ass off at her because I can't stand the woman. I can't stand the woman, and I can't stand what she's done to pop music because it basically bred a generation of little sluts running around singing about every trampy thing they can do. And I can't stand it. Yeah. I'm all for anti-kink shame and sexual revolution, but that doesn't mean you have to act like you're gutter trash in order to be sexual. No. And that's the problem I have with that. So,
like a contrary in her and Lady Gaga. Like Madonna came out of dance clubs. Gaga came out of rock and roll and biker clubs, biker bars.
And she still stole almost everything she did from somebody else.
Yeah, but put a twist on it. Okay.
Yeah, well, she didn't even hardly put a twist on it. She literally, the whole thing she did with her disco stick and all those on-stage stick performances were step for step ripped off from Curly. Literally.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're stealing from a little nobody in Estonia. That's just cheap as hell and lazy.
Yeah.
And I can't stand her. Yeah. And I'll take Curly over her any day. And I don't like all of her stuff or what she's done, but I like some of it. And I do actually think she at least has the heart behind her music. I think Gaga's is fake as hell.
Well, she that moment where like she could, in a talent show, you just put her in a single spotlight and a piano and a microphone, and she'll put on a show for you. She's got the chops, but
she has them. If she
bring all the stuff goes along with it, probably
if you put away the ego and the fake and all that, and you just get her to sit down and sing, she's okay.
Yeah.
The problem is getting her to do that. And I still remember there was this concert she was supposed to be doing. And God, this has been a while back. This was back when I was doing commentary and stuff off of reports back on Facebook when I was early on that account. So back when she was still pretty new as a singer. And she was supposed to be doing this concert, and it got snowed in. They couldn't get there. And she went ballistic, abusive to her whole staff for not getting her to the concert when she was snowed in and they couldn't get the van through. The road was closed. And then fired half of her crew because they wouldn't drive through a closed road to get her there. It's like,
it's inaccessible.
It's like, look, I get that you want your show, and I get if you don't do it, you have to give refunds, but don't be a diva. Don't be a fucking bitch.
Yeah. By contrast, when go back to Weird Al, because he did the parody of Born This Way, Perform This Way, Perform That Way.
And he wasn't just her, by the way. There were some shots of some of the other pop girls in that too. But
the big thing was her people kept saying no, and he always gets permission first. He doesn't have to, and so he put out just an audio version saying I'd really like to share this, but she's saying no, so. Not going to be on the album, but here it is. And people started bugging her when she's doing like going to the Today Show. Hey, what do you fucking Weird Al for? She hadn't heard about it. They hadn't gone to her. Boy, what do you mean? I love Weird Al. And they let her know, hey, they're not letting her do this song over here. Then she hey, let him do the damn song. And that
I wrote a parody that would probably get me canceled if I ever actually sang it somewhere. Have you ever heard the song From Within Temptation, What Have You Done Now?
No.
The whole song is this duet between this guy and this girl that are breaking up and how they've become enemies. And there's literally lines in it like, do you mind if I kill you? And stuff like that. The guy in the video went full trans sex change about 6 years after they did it.
Okay.
And I was feeling very tongue-in-cheek at the time when this happened. And I actually have somewhere the lyrics I wrote, where I took the entire song and rewrote it as Why Am I a Woman Now? And there were some pretty blunt jokes about both genders in it.
Oh, Lord.
And somewhere in this house, I have that still.
Okay.
But like, if I ever sing that, I can imagine how much people would try to cancel me.
But parody is protected speech. Okay.
And it was funny. Look, I also have the page I wrote where I rewrote the entire song of Whip It to a BDSM bondage song. So
it's no longer a metaphor for masturbation. It's like really actually whipping.
Let's just say it's very, very direct and something you would expect in a burlesque show, the way I rewrote it. I have some books. I've written some parodies. I need to actually see if I can get recorded because they go pretty dark and crass, but they're funny.
I'm gonna take that opening there though. It's good. We need to get a mention of Indy in here because I finally got someone to talk to about. I finally got them to respond. She described herself. I'm not going to mention the name because I don't want people pigpiling on her. But she described herself as X-trans. Not D-trans, but X-trans, because she didn't bother to document the stuff while she was on the testosterone and stuff. But, But finally, after a few bouncing her, go, you can DM me. Well, her DMs are closed. No, you have to DM me. I can't, So finally got that and started yakking. And she checked out her indie stuff. It's like, in fact, let me just call it the DM stuff here.
Make sure you don't show the name or show it.
No, I'm not even going to show it. I'll read it.
All right.
Keep it nice and safe here, but But I mean, quite a discussion here too. Let's go back up. Yeah. Okay, and I mentioned that because I also did a roundabout thing. I wasn't able to contact her. Said go to the pinned tweet on my page. That's the person I'm talking about, and let me know. And then, but finally, so she did go back and look at it. But I mentioned that, it's like recently came out as trans, saying at the ripe old age of 27 that she's now a boy. Diagnosed about 5 years ago with borderline personality disorder, PTSD, OCD, depression, anxiety disorder, and probably a few other gems. Not planning on going on T because she doesn't want to fuck up her features or voice and hates body hair anyway. And is trying to work up her guts for top surgery. She's scared of surgery of any kind, so that's helpful. And she's also got the history of anorexia and body dysmorphia, which for a 20-something female is not shocking. And first response, unfortunately, there's no way to help these people. They have deep-rooted issues that only they can get themselves out of. And sadly, she's doing it for online clout. And I go on and say, I think this is part of that borderline personality stepping over the border. She's also smoking a lot of weed to keep it all going. All I can say is if you do throw your 2 cents worth, and keep my name out of it, I'm already at the top of her shit list. But your perspective might be enough to point her back to reality. You never know. Because this all started, I wish I could, have you talk to somebody, but I don't dare mention the name because I'm already deep enough trouble. And he said, highly doubt it. She's a slut on camera for people. Said, true. She's the typical lefty who would scream at me just for giving my point of view or even trying to talk to her. She's too far gone. I'm sorry. Only she can save herself. I've said that myself too. Yeah, you have to the rest of yourself. I'm not trying to save you. I'm just trying to point you in the direction to save yourself here. I said, any guesses how long it might take her for trying to be a boy to get old? And I said, never for people like that. She's surrounded by people who feed her narcissism. And I said, any chance Mike calling her out from the sidelines might have planted a seed or two? Not sure, to be honest. It could, but she's pretty fucked in the head. She's posting some really fucked up shit, like step bro, come fuck me. A lot of step. In fact, she calls her fans step bros. Has for years, long before this. But I said one thing I've come across often in the D-trend is nobody ever questioned this thing about wanting to be trans. Everyone's so affirming and says, nope. And so many times nobody ever bothered to call them out and say why. Why do you think it's everyone just know? And again, well, who is she to you? Can't you talk to her? And I said, we used to DM a lot, but I did something dumb and she blocked me. Her moderator said they don't have her back. Some idiot doxed her a few days ago. No sign of anyone besides me and you. Reported him. Then during a YouTube live stream, somebody started talking about swatting her house. Instead of bouncing his ass out, one of them started arguing with him. I said, what did you do? How am I meant to reach out to them and talk to them? If I'd piped up during that chat, I'd have been blocked immediately. So not much I can do in that case. Although, like I said, you reported him.
Yeah.
That they are too far gone. They're doing it for followers. Nothing can stop it. And I said, one possible opening, if they really wanted to reach out and turn, one possible is that boyfriend-girlfriend application. I said, most of it fun, but it is an opening for communication. So I said, she's too far gone. She loves it. She's not trans. She's doing it for money. She'll wake up someday. And I posted the link anyways. I'm hoping I can at least keep her off balance enough that she wakes up before she does something irreversible. But unfortunately, you can't help her. She's lost. She'll have to learn for herself. And I said, well, I'm an eternal optimist. And she come back. I wish you the best of luck with her, but I fear she's gone. The fame is too much, and all she has to do is pretend to be gay. And I said, her chosen career field seems to be both feeding this and also riding the brakes, because she can't just sign off stop the girl content. And I think that is it. And I think, when what I've seen on when you post picture sets, the stuff with the tits and pussy gets more likes than when she airbrushes them out the tits and has the fake dick in her hands.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. It's a weird situation about how you slice it. Thanks for talking to me about this. It's been impossible to get any feedback from any professionals in this field. It's craziness. She's completely ruined herself. It's sad. She used to be so pretty. She looked at a lot of her old stuff. That's it. And at that point, she was live streaming on Fansly at the moment. I want to post this. They were just hanging out, listening to podcasts, and hitting that ever-present bong. And if donations hit a certain point, she flashes a butt. And I wonder if part of this is also connected to her being within striking distance of turning 30. Imagine that sort of thing.
Some women do not handle aging well.
Yeah. And I said again, thanks for listening to me, and said you're welcome. Hope she wakes up. Maybe not. And we shall see. And what kind of started me on is her. I will point out. Let's see, somewhere in here, she went through her story here. If I can find it. It's not the pinned one there, but she related her story about how she was signed up for, she was on testosterone. She was signed up for top surgery. And the surgeon sat down with her and said, why do you want to do this? Because I'm not, gotta hate being a girl. That's not good enough. And that just snapped the whole thing. That's just what kind of brought the whole thing crashing down, and finally woke her up. And it's like, okay, yeah, this is wrong. I almost did something very stupid.
I mean, I am the queen of a lot of bad decisions in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah.
Between some of the people I went out with and stuff, and look, let's be honest here. From around my 10th birthday, I can't actually tell you with everything that was going on in life. If it was actually before or after, if I was actually 9, technically when it started, till partway into year 16, and I would say probably about April that year, so several months into being 16, I was an obsessive cutter. So let's get things straight. And I kind of goosed it with a lot of people. I tried to deny why I did it because it's easier to downplay it as being numb to trauma, which was why it continued so much. When I got trampled, it intensified that in me a lot.
Yeah.
And I did it a lot more after that because I was almost to the point where I couldn't feel anything. I was in so much pain so much at the time that my mind and my body were shutting off and going numb.
Yeah.
And when you start feeling numb to the world, when you start feeling, because it's not a lack of pain, it's numb.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other experience. You start feeling like you're not alive.
So you
still feel the pain, but you
start inducing
feel like you're a zombie.
Alive, yeah.
So yeah, you increase your pain trying to make yourself feel alive.
Feel something.
And so for a while, I told everybody, no, I did it because I was trampled and the trauma and the pain. And most of the time that's definitely why I did it the most. It's not why it started. And in fact, it started after a major seizure. I gashed myself in the seizure, no less. It also came from the fact that I actually, a few years before that, did drown and have to be revived because of a seizure. So it was the seizures, it was the pain, it was the feeling no control of life and stuff that started things.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand it when I did it. I really did it. I didn't know what I was doing. I just did it without even thinking.
Okay, found the post here, by the way.
But it tells you, and dysmorphia to the body and stuff goes with being that, having those kind of disabilities, having that kind of medical and mental, having metabolic issues. And a lot of times I still see myself as the little skinny wrestler I was in college.
Yeah.
It feeds it. And that's why. And then people will sit there and tell you, well, you did this to yourself. Well, first of all, my weight issues are metabolic conditions. I barely eat. I barely consume calories. I'm very much a health food person, if you've seen this. I spent 10 years where it would be absolutely considered anorexic. I was alive, but barely. I wasn't really eating. And I was still gaining weight, even though I was active. There's something wrong with you when you're in that stage. And the doctors wouldn't hear me. And every time I went to one and said, I can't lose weight. I can't lose weight. No matter what I do, I'm still gaining weight. All they would ever say is, oh, you're fine. You're fine. Eat less. I'm not barely eating and I can't lose weight. No. You're eating more than you think you are. Just eat less.
They just don't want to be bothered.
How many people have they killed with this shit?
Yeah, I know.
Doing that, just that. How many people have they blown off and said, no, you don't have metabolic issues. You don't have metabolic conditions. You don't have anything wrong with you. You're just not treating yourself right. And blown off when they came to him saying, I'm needing help. I need to lose weight. I need to find out why I can't do this. How many people have they blown off? How many people have they blown off and killed with this stuff and then blamed the weight that was a side effect, not the cause?
Yeah.
And how skewed are these numbers? Because they don't also list, when they list and they talk about weight caused deaths.
Yeah.
And they use obesity numbers. The numbers they're basing as obesity numbers are actually metabolic conditions and extreme high and extreme low weight to where your body should be. That means those death counts also include people who had organ failure from anorexia, who were bulimic, who underate and were too skinny and stuff like that. People who had high metabolisms and had organ damage from it, stuff like that, are also in those numbers.
Yeah. That's one. Have you tried Atkins stuff with like get the high protein, low carb type thing?
That's basically my life, but it is what it is. I can't actually lose it. I eat extremely healthy. I eat mostly vegetables and fruit with a little meat, and it doesn't. I can't. It is what it is. It's better to not starve myself.
Yeah, you figure out some way to trigger the fat burning process.
I do the best I can. I am not at least stopped gaining at one point.
Yeah.
And every so often I can lose a few pounds, but it takes like months to do. But at least I have that much now.
Yeah.
Being able to get some of the treatment for the PCOS, being able to know I have the metabolic issues and get the L-carn and stuff like that has slowed some of that and increased the metabolism a little. But it still just sucks. It just sucks. And it's going to, unfortunately.
I think everybody has some level of dysmorphia, body dysmorphia. Because I'd still get surprised, look in the mirror and say, oh, who's that fat fuck?
I'm sitting there going, how many times did I almost kill myself because I wouldn't eat? How many times did my husband have to make me eat when I'd sit in my art room for days on end and not do anything but drink tea? And the tea had no sugars. It was just my zero calorie stuff. So I just sit in their room and drink tea and drink tea and drink tea and do projects, and I wouldn't eat. And I still have a tendency to do that if my husband doesn't remind me to eat. But now he reminds me.
But yeah, let me read the, because this is her little story here. Just go. Let me now scroll up a bit so I can get her name out of it. Well, no, it's just still on the page here. So okay, I'll just read it. How are you, ex-trans? I socially transitioned as Braden for 6 years, then called boyfriend by my girlfriend for 6 years, found my breath for 6 years, made myself as masculine as physically possible for 6 years, went through to change my legal name and failed, talked to doctors about removing my breasts, experienced actual dysphoria about having a female body. I experienced exactly what trans people do, but I wasn't trans. I was giving myself dysphoria. I was causing my own discomfort in my body by faking my own reality and gaslighting myself by entertaining a fake reality instead of my own. I looked at myself as not good enough because I was idolizing a version of myself that didn't exist. I made appointments for tea. I made appointments for mastectomy. I had both appointments. I started tea, went to the doctor for my breast removal, and they asked me, why do you want to be a boy? And I couldn't answer other than, I don't want to be a girl. He said, that's not a solution. And that shattered my world. I was angry. I hated him. I wanted to sue him for his transphobia. But over time, I started realizing he was right. I was angry because he rejected my fake reality, and I didn't like my fantasy being ripped away from me, almost like a child holding on to a toy. I was no longer trans. I'm a lesbian. I'm into women. In fact, I think if I found a proper man, I might even be into him. But my experience with men has been horrible. So I think with the right man, I might actually find I'm bi, but I'm not positive. So I consider myself a lesbian due to the fact that girls should be out.
One second on that. That actually is one of the things I've talked about a lot. Because all these people who are always screaming about the whole born this way thing is, no, nobody chooses to be gay. Nobody chooses to be bi. Actually, that's not true. In fact, it is a very common issue with people who are abused heavily by the opposite sex to go same sex out of fear and other issues like that. And a lot of them, if you talk to them, will tell you they're still attracted to the opposite sex. They just don't want to be. So no, actually, there is a entire segment of the gay and lesbian community that are that way because they fear the opposite sex, not because they were born genetically that way.
Something happened to them. One with
that doesn't mean people aren't born with the leanings to same sex and stuff like that. But to say nobody does is discrediting a lot of people's trauma and their experience and their sexuality also. When they do that, they're basically saying if you're not gay for the reasons we think you should be, then you don't count and you're not one of us, and we don't count you as a person. And it's wrong, actually, because those people need a voice. It's people like, and yes, she's a crazy feminist and stuff, but cite the singer Emily Autumn here. The reason she went same sex is because she was sexually abused as a child most of her life. She went through being sexually abused by her therapist and her doctor for years. She went through all this stuff, and her ex was not better. In fact, she did a song called I Know Where You Sleep, where she blasted her ex as being everything from plagiarizing to whoremongering to abusive and everything else. And when he tried to sue her about it, saying that it was slanderous, after she presented evidence, the court ruled on her side. So I don't like what she's become. A lot of her songs hit me very personally, and I connect to them, even though I don't always agree with the message in the end of it. But she went very much same sex, and you can see the anger towards men come out a lot. But you can also see a lot of it's fear. And every so often, she'll talk about the men she does trust and like near her. And you can see that it's a wall. She's with women now because she's afraid of men, and she even considers herself to be mostly asexual. She doesn't like being involved with sex.
Look at this last paragraph here. That being said, I fully consider myself ex-trans. I'm thankful as fuck I didn't ruin my body with drugs/surgery, and I feel bad for those who weren't so fortunate, but I am against calling them mutilated because imagine you're recovering from being manipulated and hurt, and people are like, you're mutilated. That's going to make them feel worse, so don't do that. And
Actually,
then,
I would agree with that.
yeah, and then context. Name change failed because my parents found out. Same reason being on T failed. I'm thankful my parents invaded my privacy. LOL. Granted, at the time I hated them for it.
I'm kind of conflicted on that because I do think that anybody should be able to change their name if they want to.
Yeah, I know, like kid sister.
But at the same time, I get why it
Mm-hmm.
for in that situation for her it ended up helping her. I do think anybody who's an adult should be able to change their name. Just like I don't like the marriage system at all.
Yeah.
The older I get, the more I think it needs it done away with entirely. I think anybody should be able to apply to change their name if they want to match the person that they're living with.
Yeah.
And I don't think marriages should be a government contract in any way, shape, or form or licensed.
Mm-hmm.
I believe relationships should be civil union, period. You sign a contract, who brings in what and who takes out what.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone signs a type of prenup, only it's the marriage agreement.
Yeah.
And that's it. And if you want to give your spouse consent, because you can file in every hospital and every school and every place now, you can file papers saying that this is my significant other or this is the person who's my closest to kin, but because they're not an easy documentation and proof, this person has full consent, pick up the kids, be involved with them, they are the extra parent, all this. You can sign that to anybody. You can sign any person to be your next of kin when you die. There's nothing that they in the benefits of marriage that they talk about that you can't sign over to a person for a few dollar fee with a lawyer. There's nothing.
Yeah.
And so I don't believe in this whole system as marriage. And there shouldn't be the system where lawyers are making a fortune by dividing families and pushing them into these courts for decades.
Hold on, I'm getting yelled at here. What? Hold on. Maybe it's Steph, somebody came down with you. No, but kids just changed the name twice. Okay?
Yeah. And
that's why I don't. That's why I don't call her by her current legal name. I call her by when I met her.
And look at the situation that happened with Robin Williams' last marriage. And this is to anybody who can hear it. If you're not there, it's fine.
There are two people on the scene.
She dragged him out in this divorce for over a decade. That last marriage that he had before the final one when he died. That last divorce was hell. And she took everything. She dragged it out because there's all these regulations on marriages and how you can get out of them and stuff. And look, that shouldn't be. It should be between the people. If I was to face the situation and the choice that I made in my early 20s now, I would not file a marriage license. I would get married. I'd do the ceremony. I'd do the vow between me and him and God. I would file the papers to be a full spouse, but I would not actually file the license if I had it to do over. And I know some people don't like that statement. I know that my mom would have been a lot better off when Dad passed away.
Okay.
If they hadn't have been married that last 10 years. They even had people tell them repeatedly they could have gotten more help being disabled if they weren't married. There is no excuse why two people who are disabled living in the same house should have different aid to help them if they're married or single. If you're sharing the bills and you're both disabled, you need the help regardless. There is no reason why my dad got more in disability as the native guy than my mom got when she paid into the system 20 years more.
I mean, I can see certain things going to help really disadvantaged, like single mother stuff, but to the point where you're actually incentivizing breaking up families, you know.
Well, what about the single fathers? Is they're never counted in this whole situation? It's like, okay, I'm going to offend a lot of people. Being a single mother is not something to treat like it's a hero, like there's some great honorable thing. Yes, okay, in some situations it was something done to them, and the fact that they did the right thing and took care of the kid despite what was done to them is really commendable. But the majority of single mothers are because they were reckless. They did things that were irresponsible. They weren't careful with their bodies, and they weren't careful with their choices. And yes, I do think that our hero worship of single mothers is actually a problem in this society. I also think that our ignorance of single fathers and men who've had the women run out, men who have women who are deadbeat mothers and don't help pay for the stuff for their kids that they're taking care of, men who need assistance and can't get it from the shelters and can't get it from all these outreaches for single parents because they're for single mothers only, need a voice in this system, and they're actually the ones being fucked over the worst.
Yeah. I wonder, thoughts occurred to me that wonder part of the fascination with single mothers is the lure of the instant family. Because I certainly remember, found myself roped into that kind of situation where it's like, so I know they got a kid. Hey, great. It's quite a time saver there.
It's kind of weird because there are some people who look at it and go, I don't have to do the work to have the kids with them. But most guys look at them and instantly go, oh, she was a tramp, or she's irresponsible, or she's going to cheat on me, or I don't want kids that I didn't sire. And the amount of guys who will actually instantly dump a woman if she has kids, and she is actually kind of sad.
They are dirtbags. That in my book, that is because I'm thinking it's definitely because we want kids. Okay, we're still even at our fucking advanced age, we're still doing. How the name such and such be forget?
I always wanted a kid, and I know I couldn't end up having it, and that was actually one of the reasons I went as far as I did. That's one of the reasons I had suicide attempts, and I ended up with the Psycho X and stuff, was because that drove me off the deep end when I found out I couldn't. Yeah. So I don't get the people who look at it and go, oh, no, it's a family, better run away. And there's some hella good jokes about those kinds of people. In fact, I don't know what your opinion of Latifah is. She did a female version of The Barbershop for Beauty Shop. And it's actually a really good movie. Yeah, it is funny, and it makes fun. It does actually take shots at her telling nobody, I don't care whether you're black or white, you're not saying the N-word in my property. Okay. And calling out the we can say it, you can't thing. She also sits there and goes, and no bitches or hoes either. Well, except the ones who don't leave a tip. But I mean, she calls out those issues that are in the inner city, in the black community, in the movie several times. And part of the movie is also her losing part of the staff for this beauty shop when she buys over it, because she brings in her white trainee she had at the last shop she worked at and considers her a partner and a friend, and refused to let them try to chase her off. So, I mean, you got to give credit to that. Oh, yeah. She actually was trying to promote the movie as how to find common ground racially. Yeah. But they took cheap shots at a lot of those stereotypes. And they did it pretty bluntly. She had to say that just because I brought up the no bitches and hoes line, didn't she? Steffi, I love you too, you troublemaker. I actually do really like that movie, the way she did it. And it takes a lot of those shots, but it's one of those things where that part, because the hypocrisy of, I can say it, you can't. Yeah. Well, in that movie, she's widowed, and she's got a kid. Yeah. I think Steph's more quoting Dr. Ken from Hangover. What's up, bitches? And so in that movie, she's got this teenage daughter, and she kind of falls for the guy, and you see both sides of it. You see the guys who are irresponsible, and you see the guys that are man up and almost take care of it. And oh God, it does actually call out a lot of the issues that I've seen in a lot of these in a lot of these slums and a lot of the minority communities. The issues we do have. Yeah, it actually does call out pretty intelligently. And as the girls are throwing the fit that they don't want to, you're not trying to brighten the place up. You're trying to whiten the place up, and they're being racist as hell to her friend. And she's going, waving about like that, going, anybody else want to leave? Because this white bitch here is staying with me. It's like, you got to give that, because it's needed. Yes, and it does show some of the bigotries on both sides. And that's where I felt that she did it right. I don't agree with everything she does, but I think she actually does want to unite the races. I think she is one that actually believes it. I still think she's a bit of a loon and a nut, but I think her heart's in the right place. Yeah. Yeah, there was the
rehab place she was in Jacksonville.
I'm trying to remember the name
When
of it.
they finally got to actually working on physical therapy with her and get them off the sick. Well, you just signed your check over this. No.
I'm trying to remember there was a movie that she did, and for some reason I can't remember the name right this second. Bringing Down the House.
Okay.
Was actually her and my brain is like really foggy right now. Steve Martin.
Okay, yeah.
And the guy that ends up falling for her in it and chasing after her during this whole ridiculous movie is Eugene Levy. It is a fucked up movie, but it's actually funny, and it really does show a lot of the crazy and stuff. But oh my god, it's an interesting one because through a lot of the movie you see the stereotype of the most racist, yuppie, rich white people. And then you go in to deal with the people that she used to run with and the one who set her up for a crime and all this stuff. And you start seeing the problems and the bigotries and the hatred and stuff in the inner city too. And so it actually showed both sides through that movie of the issues on both sides. Again, and that's one thing. That's one reason I can like her is because while she does play on some of those stereotypes a bit extremely sometimes, she shows the faults on both sides. And we need that. Where you don't walk away looking at it feeling like one race was portrayed as completely innocent and one is wrong and right, you know? But in that one, I mean, the one who falls in love with her is Eugene Levy. Obviously, they were going biracial with that, right?
Yeah.
And in the beauty shop one, part of what pissed her off, and the girl who played her friend that she was training was Alyssa Silverstone. I mean, talk about as white, blonde as you can get.
Yeah.
And at one point in it, the very dark, buff black guy that all the girls are chasing after starts going after her, and all the girls start getting pissed. So she has that common thread of showing some of the interracial issues that you get on both sides and the way they treat you too.
Yeah.
And that I think is important to talk about because there is a large bigotry in the minority communities against mixed race kids and pale minorities. And it's something that most people will not address even when doing movies about minority communities. And I don't like Ashton Kutcher, but actually the movie he did with Bernie Mac, I guess, who actually dealt with a lot of the bigotry on both sides. Yeah. I actually found that movie good, even though I don't usually like him. So I like movies where they're not playing one side is innocent and one side is good. Because first they're all offended at the black jokes that he knows, but then you're hearing this and you're talking about they didn't want the white boy in the family, and her sister's thanking her for all the things I've done wrong. I want to thank you because I will never be on me again because I'm not the one who brought home the white boy. It's like,
there's an update of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, I think.
Yeah, it was a modernized of it. And then there's one line though I love that when they're all having their little spats in the families and stuff, and the mother and her both took off to her aunts, pissed off at the guys, and so you had this whole group of black women bitching about their men all night, and they're going, "Come on, we gotta go get our women." No, you don't understand. You can't just walk up on a group of angry black women. You'll die. It's like, he's not wrong. Yeah. I've had a saying I've said a long time. You remember with the first BLM riots with the mother that got caught on video beating the kid down the street when he was trying to take off with the rioters? Yeah. So when I watched that video clip, I posted it to my friends over on the old Facebook page, and I posted it with one line as the caption to it: "Hell hath no fury like a pissed off black mama." Yep. I posted that, and every freaking black friend I have was coming out of the woodworks going, "You're right, damn straight." And one of them going, "Oh, I miss my mama." She read that. The fact that that was the response, not one of them was offended. They're all going, damn straight. It's like one after another, like dozens and dozens and dozens of people saying this.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, holy shit.
Word gets out, they will be, every mama in the street will be whooping rap before you even get to your house. Okay.
And they tried to press charges on her for assaulting the kid. And he went on out in the media and went, are you kidding? Those boys ended up in the hospital. She probably saved my life that night. And I was being a shit. I mean, it was funny as hell because you see this group of like 20 guys from about 16 to mid-20s, big burly black guys all hang out and go, let's go. And this little tiny black woman just into the middle of the group and yanks him out, starts beating him. And as he turns and looks at the other guys, they're all running as fast as they can from her. Not one of them was messing with this woman.
No. Oh, you pissed off your mama now. I'm done.
And they played on that don't mess with mothers because it's also true with Italian.
Yeah.
And I'm rewatching the old Becker episodes, and they're dealing with the sleazeball Italian friend that Bob had in that episode.
Yeah.
And he's going off and pulling all this stuff and harassing Reggie, trying to basically bully her into sex and stuff. He's going, you don't treat her this way. She's my friend. I will tell your wife. I'm not scared of her. I'll tell your mother. Where are you at the freezer delivered? And he's like, pack it up. Like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah. No, I just came across this one here. Meanwhile, at Twitter headquarters,
that's about where Elon is right now.
Probably, yeah. It's like, okay, don't bring the bird to work, okay?
I don't care how freaking rich he is. He's a dumbass.
Yeah. I'm wondering, it's like, is there some kind of issue of the servers getting overloaded or something that they're trying to put the brakes on this, or what? I'm trying to figure out, why would you do this?
Nothing that he's claiming makes sense. What he's saying, none of what he's doing right now would change the bots. Most of the bots already paid.
Yeah.
They've realized that, all they need is one good account that's paid, and then they piggy all these other accounts in off of because you can put a whole bunch of accounts off one.
Yeah.
Really easily. And the others may not have the check mark, but they're still going to go through that certified account. They're not going to be screened as well. And that's what they've been doing. They've been paying for one account and then creating a whole bunch of bots off it. And since he instigated this pay for play, I've got more spam, more bot ads, more spammer fake, absolutely scam ads, and more spammers and sex bots trying to follow me and my husband that we have to block every day than we ever had before he took over. Which I said from the beginning was going to happen. This was never about getting rid of the bots. It was about pay to play and him making money. I told people that from the beginning, and I was called a shill and an SJW and left, right, and this, and that threatening comments.
Okay, he's not going to do this to lose money. He's going to try and turn it into a money-making thing, So.
And this latest one today even had a lot of his fans and his followers and his subscribers going, no, this isn't right.
Yeah. So, I expect this to be reversed rather quickly just because this ain't working.
Even a lot of the accounts that he's always quote tweeting that he loves the pieces that love him, like Cat Turd in them, are even calling him out and saying this is dumb as hell.
This is dumb, yeah.
Anyway. And yet there's still those shills going, you're just opposing it because you don't want to. Hey, it's like, well, you can't afford to pay. Or all this is like, no, I refuse to pay because there's nothing on the site worth paying for. I have no problem paying for products where you're actually getting something worth premium. There's nothing on Twitter that's worth premium.
I mean, I might eventually, if I get the 500 subscriber limit, or followers, that I might get to the point where it's okay. Yeah, I'll go so I don't have to do multi-part posts anymore. But beyond that, anyway, come across this old Chris Rock thing here.
People in the black community, myself, often worry that we might be a victim of police brutality. So, as a public service, the Chris Rock Show proudly presents this educational video. Have you ever been face to face with a police officer and wondered, Is he about to kick my ass? Well, want to know more? If you follow these easy tips, you'll be fine. First, obey the law. Laws were made for a reason. Think of them as hints. You heard people say, man, I wouldn't do that shit if I was you. Well, here's some of that shit. Carjacking, armed robbery, arson, selling drugs, buying drugs, stabbing, shooting. You know, you probably won't get your ass kicked if you just use common sense. If you jump a subway turnstile, you might just get off with a warning from the police. But if you jump a turnstile carrying a loaded gun and smoking a joint, then maybe you leave that ass.
I mean, I can't stand Chris Rock usually, but he's right about this part.
Yeah, this is a good one.
But
Yeah.
Rodney wouldn't have gotten his ass kicked if he had just followed this simple tip. When you see flashing police lights in your mirror, stop immediately.
Yeah.
Everybody knows if the police have to come and get you, they're bringing an ass kicking with them. Here's a no-brainer. If you're listening to loud rap music, turn that shit off. Blasting fuck the police while you're getting pulled over by the police is just ignorant. When an officer approaches your car, be polite.
Is there a problem, officer?
And stay in your car with your hands on the wheel.
What the fuck you want, motherfucker?
Unless you want your ass. Want to give a friend a ride? Not so fast. Your friend might be crazy. Now, before you let your friend in your car, ask them these questions. Do you have a gun? Do you have drugs? Do you have any warrants? And in case you do get pulled over by the cops,
License and registration, please.
remind your friend to do this one thing.
Shut the fuck up.
Don't give him shit. What the fuck you want?
If you have to give a friend a ride, get a white friend. A white friend could be the difference between a ticket
And an ass kick.
and a bullet in the ass. Here's a tip you should never forget. If your woman is mad at you, leave her at home.
Yeah.
Because a
What got me
mad
going is
woman will say anything.
He got weed! He got weed!
If your woman is mad at you, there's nothing she'd like to see more than you getting your ass kicked.
That's right! Kick me, motherfucking ass!
Now let's review. Obey the law. Use common sense. Stop immediately. Turn that shit off. Be polite. Shut the fuck up. Get a white friend. And last but not least,
Don't ride with a mad woman.
If you follow these simple pointers, you probably won't get your ass kicked by the police.
Okay.
I actually do need that link, even though I can't stand him, because that is actually got some accuracy to it.
All right.
Because I'm sorry.
That's several years ago, but yeah, that's really.
Most of the issues with these. Well, first of all,
obey the law.
right?
Mm-hmm. I probably shouldn't have cut up because apparently a rather profound Martin Luther King reference here, but yeah. Let me go ahead and copy that. I'll send this to you in private chat.
Mm-hmm.
If I can find the private chat, where am
Well, you could. It'd be easier over in Twitter because this thing never copies
true.
links right.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
It's a cheap little Chromebook, but it gets me by while I'm waiting for my computer to get updated. Which means, pulling money out of my ass.
Mm-hmm.
Which is going to be fun since I still have to deal with Athena here.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of cats, Ornery is asleep on my feet under the tray here. It has been for a while.
Okay, just sent it.
But,
Now, I've recently been rediscovering Avril Lavigne. Mainly because during one of indie streams or on a Spotify thing, Complicated came up. And that struck me, oh, that's rather appropriate. And I shot it right back to her on Twitter. It's, and I showed her, I think, no, don't sing along, listen. This is aimed at you.
What's funny is I don't even remember what the original words in that were. All I hear is Weird Al's Complicated song that he did off it.
Yeah.
You say complicated, and the first line I heard in my head is, how was I supposed to know we were both related? Believe me, if I knew she was my cousin, we never would have dated.
Well, look, I can pull up lyrics here. I don't, don't have to go with the video.
You know what? I'm gonna say it this way. I don't have. He slapped him, first of all, not punched, but I can't get mad at a guy who's obviously been henpecked and abused in his relationship for 20, 30 years, because I don't think that he's stable anymore. If you look at his relationship with Jada back in the 90s to now, she has always been an abusive piece of shit, and he acts like a battered spouse.
And he's the consolation prize when she couldn't marry him, Tupac.
Yeah. She treats him like shit. And she's the one who went on TV and bragged about having affairs on him and stuff like that. Yeah,
with her son's friend.
She's also the one who openly said on her show she was doing for a while that she masturbated with her daughter when she's a teenager to teach her how to do it.
Ooh, lordy.
She's a fucking predator, and she's an abuser, and she belongs in jail.
And the big thing
I fucking hate Jada.
That G.I. Jane joke, I mean, Will was laughing along with the rest of the crowd.
Until she looked pissed and started elbowing him.
And oh, shit. Oh,
you can actually see she was elbowing him under the camera. You can see the way her arm was moving.
Yeah.
She was, you better defend me or you're going to get it when we get home.
Yeah, or you're not getting it when we get home. Yeah.
No, I flat out believe she's a full abuser. I absolutely believe it.
Yeah.
Based on her own. It is interesting that all these media organizations ran all these stories on her comment about doing that with her child. And you can't find that story, the articles or the original footage anywhere anymore. They've all been scrubbed from the internet. Doesn't matter. I saw it. I watched her actually say it herself. It fucking happened, and she's an abuser and a predator.
Yeah.
And she sits there and bawls, but I'm losing hair. Guess what? You're losing fucking hair to a condition that's the only side effect is losing hair. I lost 2/3 of my hair last fall because PCOS caused my hormones to imbalance and start dropping clumps. Fuck you. I'm still not crying like a bitch.
Yeah. And also, you do trying to embrace your fact you're going to. All right. When you do that, guess what? Someone's going to make a joke about it.
How many jokes about Patrick Stewart being bald have we heard over the years?
Yeah. And all he does, like G.I. Jane 2, I can vote it. That's all he did.
For fuck's sake, let's go back to Cool Runnings. How about I draw a line down the middle of your head so it looks like a butt?
Yeah. Anyway.
Have a fucking sense of humor, bitches. I mean.
Yeah, what got the opening line, chill out, what you yelling for? Lay back, it's all been done before. And if you could only let it be, I'm not going to quote it. I like you the way you are, and you're driving in the car, and you're talking to me one-on-one. You become somebody else, around everyone else. You're watching your back, how you can't relax. Try to be cool, look like a fool to me. Yeah, I'm not familiar.
I can see it now.
Yeah. That song came out at least in 2002.
I think there's a hypocrisy to depending on the genre, how people respond to certain lyrics.
Indie was 5. Okay.
And I'm going to use an example here, right? Everybody got pissed at Avril for doing the song Girlfriend, which honestly is a bit of a trampy song where she's saying, I want to steal your boyfriend.
That's a fun video. I just reposted that one.
it is a bit of a trashy song and video.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Oh yeah.
But the same people who called her trash for doing that are the ones who sit there and love Hailstorm. Guess what? Hailstorm, Love Bites is basically a heavy metal version of that. Where she even talks about that bitch is jealous and shit like that and things like that. And let me get the lyrics here for you for a second. Let me show you how, because you, as you said, you just posted Girlfriend, so obviously you know the story in it well.
Oh yeah.
So let me see here. This is where it's funny to me because it's a heavy metal version of the same fucking story. It really, really is. And I pointed this out a while ago, and Geek Hero Bubba, you remember him?
Vaguely, yeah.
He pointed out on the same thing because I was talking about this. These are the same song. He went, well, basically, you could say that Britney Spears' Lucky and Evanescence, Everybody's Fool are basically the same story, too.
Yeah.
And they are.
Well, the video for Girlfriends, like, you got, and Avril's playing both parts, playing the prissy little, redhead in the sweater and the shirt, but yeah. And my book, at least, the more attractive one is the metal chick in the black t-shirt and the black hair and the one just kicking ass. Again, that's the one I want to go for. Okay. Yeah.
So Hailstorm's Love Bites, and this is why I say it's the same story. Don't listen what your girlfriend says. She reads those magazines and say you failed the test. You don't have what she needs. I slither like a viper and get you by the neck. I know 1,000 ways to help you forget about her, and that bitch can eat her heart out. That's the opening lines. Same story to heavy metal.
Yeah. Oh.
Don't get me wrong. It's got a great beat. And it's a wickedly good rock metal song. But it's the same fucking story. If you find one offensive, you find both offensive, or you're a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Now you could say they're the same story, but you know what? I like this genre and this style and this way of telling the story better. That's a valid point. To say, look how trampy that is, and then go, oh, I love this girl. She's badass. It's like, look, I love Hailstorm. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But most of their songs aren't even thinly veiled. They are flat out talking about different sexualities and fetishes.
Yeah.
She's got a song called I Get Off, which is talking about intentionally changing in front of the peeping Tom so she can get off at his faces. I'm not kidding. Apocalyptic is literally her talking about how much abusive they are to each other as a couple. We're done as a couple. Hey, but we were always good at sex. Nail me hard, make me miss it.
Yeah.
Breakup sex.
Yeah.
That's what the entire song is. Do Not Disturb is her trying to convince a guy and his girlfriend to come have a menage in her suite. It's not subtle.
Oh.
Look,
why'd you have to go and make things so complicated? See the way you're. I'm horribly making this song.
I was not a big fan of Avril, but I always actually had a soft spot for Skater Boy because it actually had a pretty good lesson about being more attracted to people for the content of their heart, not their popularity and their desirability into populace. I actually had a soft spot for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the thing.
Yeah, right? Chicks like, give me someone who kicks some ass along with the guys.
Well, that was always me. I mean, like, I'm sure you're shocked. I mean, let's be honest. I have a little bit of a thing for Lily Allen's music. Now, I don't know if you know much about her.
A little, yeah.
Yes, she's a bit of a whiny leftist and feminist. Fine. Drop that. She also got attacked by feminists because for a while she took her husband's name and changed her name. She, to the point where she actually had to change the name back for her stage performances in order to actually sell.
Jesus.
It's like, for fuck's sakes, get a life. It's like, it's her choice.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, shove it up your ass. But I don't agree with everything she says and does. But I love the tongue-in-cheek, doing the soft, soulful, folksy music.
Yeah.
And then doing, oh my God, the most ridiculous lyrics and shit, you know?
Yeah.
It's like the fear where she goes, and I'll take my clothes off and it will be shameless because everyone knows this is how you get famous. She's blunt.
Yeah.
One of her songs is literally called Not Fair, and the entire song is her opining that you'd be a great guy if you weren't such a horrible lay.
Oh.
That's literally the message of the song.
Yeah.
But it's always done with these soft vocals and delicate voices, sweet. And it's like, I kind of like that. It appeals to me.
Yeah.
Because
the juxtaposition between that and what they're saying. I mean, I have been a hardcore Joan Jett fan.
Alfie.
Yeah.
Steffi, if you're talking about Lily Allen, the song's Alfie. Oh, little brother, please refrain from doing that. Trying to help you out, so can you stop being a twat?
She was supposed to be in Game of Thrones with her brother, playing the sister, but since one of the scenes involves him shoving his hand down her pants to grab it, it's like, no, that's not happening. Okay.
I will actually say her song LDN, while it was about London, I really feel is the theme song for basically any major city. The glorified, oh, look at this world in the city, look how much you can do, all these things, it's such a great life, and how dark it really is.
Just outside, the little bubble in the video, it's nice and sunny around, and it's like 3 feet out there. It's like people
riding through the city on the bike all day. The filth took away my license. It doesn't get me down, and I'm feeling okay because the sights that I'm seeing are bright. Everyone seems to look really good, but I wonder what goes on behind them. There's a fella looking dapper, and he's sitting with a slapper. Then I see it's a pimp and his crack whore.
London.
I like that kind of tongue in cheek.
Yeah. Especially my family's not from London. Going back, west of London, in Oxfordshire, and kind of sure. No.
And let's be honest,
London at arm's length. Okay.
While she doesn't swear and stuff, some of Jules' songs were just as tongue-in-cheek about society.
Yeah.
Especially when you get to the 304, I believe was the CD. Her dance CD, where she went into Standing Still and Intuition.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, my God, the lyrics in those really went blunt.
People jumped all over her because she's still in her 20s. She wants to do a pop album. For God's sake, let her have some fun.
Well, the criticism they made of it was, that you're doing dance instead of folk music. Well, it's like, what, she's not allowed to try other styles, first of all.
Right,
Second of all, she grew up in you know Alaska, the last frontier is her family.
She grew up in a hippie family. Come on. One of my favorite Joan Jett songs is Bad Reputation. I mean, it just starts right up.
All these people.
I don't give a damn about my reputation. Come on.
And I love that stuff.
Yeah.
All these people that criticized Intuition, they did because they didn't listen closely to the lyrics. They saw her in short shorts dancing around acting crazy. Yeah. Which she did a good old. So what?
Even the videos a swipe at this whole thing.
Yeah, but if you listen, look at the lyrics, it's I'm just a simple girl in a high-tech digital world. Really try to understand all the powers that rule this land. The same as Jay's big butt as boss. Kate Moss can't find a job. In a world of postmodern fad, what was good is now is bad. So you go down through this and he goes, you look at me, but you're not quite sure. Am I it or could you get more? You learn cool from magazines. You learn love from Charlie Sheen.
Ooh. Even then he had reputation.
If you want me, let me know. I promise I won't say no. That's making fun of a lot of things, actually. She's going pretty blunt in it.
Yeah.
And actually, a lot of her songs do that. Even, okay, that was a dance version. So let's go to...
She's married to a rodeo star. Okay?
She was.
She was? What happened?
That broke up a while ago, and...
That's too bad.
It was not a good breakup. There was stuff about abuse in it. That's when she started coming on to Alaska, the Last Frontier every year. Was after that breakup because she's trying to get her son in touch with men that aren't like that. If you look up Pretty Faced Fool and a couple other of her more recent songs, she actually did songs about what happened in that relationship.
Damn, that's too bad.
Yeah. Rodeo stars tend to be some of the worst examples of cowboys out there.
Yeah. I question bull riders anyway, because like this is not a sport that was devised by serious people. This was by drunken cowboys sitting around the thing with just got paid, too much time. Oh, you think you can break in it? I'll give you $10 right now if you can ride old Blue out there for 8 seconds. You got $10 in my paycheck right goddamn now, and they're because this is clearly this it's not an outgrowth. You got horse bronco busting, roping the but nothing in rodeo and farm work, ranch work explains bull riding. There is no application except a bunch of okay, I double goddamn dare you to ride that bull. All right, put your money on the table, boys. Saddle up, and the bull's going, what the fuck's going on here? Was it my dad point out? Horse throw you, they'll run off. A bull, he'll turn around and come after you. Bulls
there's actually a scene on Alaska, The Last Frontier, where her dad's in there doing brandings and caring for the cattle with her uncle.
Yeah.
And one of them starts running through the chute, trying to charge at her dad. You hear her say, "Dad." Also, she turns around, she picks up this giant log that's almost a fallen tree and rams it through and blocks the bull and hits it with it. Oh. And you're looking like, the fuck did that tiny little woman pick up that thing bigger than her and swing it like that? And that's when you realize she's not the dainty thing she comes off at in her singing, is she?
Yeah, adrenaline will do a lot. Yeah,
it's like she's not. She's not that dainty. You watch her on those cattle runs and stuff with them because she comes back and does the cattle runs and stuff with them. She's a rowdy thing. She's not a soft little thing.
Watching the bull riding competition late down on ESPN one time.
Everyone cited Spirit as her album that was so deep and everything. The same kind of lyrics as 304. It's just a different music style put to it.
Yeah.
Here you say you like the way the cowboys tip their hats and say, "How's it going, ma'am?" But you're never quite clear if their glares are sincere or really are they just secondhand. To you, it's all roses. It's a lavender haze. The man is a marvel. It's a shame about his brains. But that's okay, you say. He's got straight teeth and it's good sex. That's the start of one of the songs on Spirit.
Yeah.
She's always been tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
As much as she's considered this sweet and deep person, even back on her first album, even back in Who Will Save Your Soul, there's some twisted, snarky lines in it.
Yeah.
She just doesn't cuss in them.
Yeah.
But she's also very deep, even when she's saying that stuff. There's a deep point to it.
One time I think it was on Tonight Show, and Howard Stern was one of the guests, I think it was Howard Stern. But she's there, and she's kind of, but talking to Jay Leno, and catches Howard just sort of staring at her tits. And once just kind of, yes, they're real. Anything else you want to know? Something like that.
This is the line, though, that got to me and why that song's meant so much to me. It's Do You, by the way, from Spirit. We shake our fists and say, well, good golly, we're mad that God kills children with our very own hands. Or in other words, blaming God for our own actions.
Yeah. No, that bull riding thing, though, is what guy finishes ride. He's up, and as he's bending down to pick up his hat to leave the room, the bull has evaded the rodeo clowns and basically headbutts the cowboy. He doesn't see it coming. And this thing just comes in, boom, and it's like, he's not moving after that. I would be shocked to find out if he actually survived that. If he did, he'd paralyzed, because there's a out. It's like, okay, I think you've seen the bull riding for one night. They give you all kinds of credit for, being enough balls to get on there, but not a lot of brains, because this is not a
you know what the whole rodeo thing reminds me of? You remember the movie Wild Hogs?
I know of it. I never watched it.
Okay, I got to fix that.
I need
There's a scene where they're in this little redneck town and they're teaching them to go slap a bull.
Oh.
I have to play it for you. It's a good movie.
Yeah, let's pull one on the city folk here. Yeah, you go over and slap that bull.
Let me see if it's actually on Amazon real quick.
It's like cow tipping type of thing. You know, oh yeah, I mean, knock them over. Yeah,
There might be
try
some.
and knock over a cow.
There might be somewhere where I can share it with you and stream it to you. I'm surprised you didn't actually see it.
I just never got around to it, really. Yeah.
I actually really like it, even though I absolutely can't stand Travolta, and he's in it.
Yeah, but Tim Allen's in it. I've liked it. Hold on,
Tim Allen's great in it too.
What?
Honestly.
Oh, but and Steph wants a soda, so I'll be back in a bit. Ay. Oh. I put plenty.
Crap. Good, you have it.
Short and coated, as I poop plenty. Okay.
Good, you have it, because apparently it was bought by Disney.
All right. Well.
I said, I'm glad you have it, because apparently it was bought by Disney.
Yeah.
So they've kind of lugged it everywhere from Access.
Yeah, apparently we already have it, so.
You need to watch it.
I
would love to be there with you when you watch it to see your reaction. The thing is, it got user review bombed because most people couldn't connect to it. It was very popular in biker circles, and everyone else said they didn't like it.
Oh, well.
It's even got the titles in it briefly. And I like it. It's one of those movies I like that got review bombed, and it does make quite a few gay jokes at the guys, including the fact that there's this whole part throughout it where there's this very gay cop that's almost like following them, trying to get in on the action because he thinks they're gay.
Okay, now someone want to chime in besides Steph. We got two other people watching here. Okay. I'm going to make a little more interesting conversation here, okay? Besides my wife, okay? Not criticizing my wife, of course. She's just in the next room. I don't can't tell, but, you know, they need something.
Oh, also, there is actually a cameo in it of Ty Pennington. Which is a really interesting part. Let me put it to you this way. There actually is a biker bar here in Iowa named Wild Hogs. And apparently it was named that before that movie came out.
Okay, well, it's an easy name.
Which they actually went with it. They kind of play with the movie as the theme now, which is kind of funny because the Wild Hogs were supposed to be a joke and not real bikers. So the fact that the biker bar was named that and they took it on and they use it now as a whole running joke is actually kind of cool.
Imagine they got a couple posters up and probably, you know.
Gotta have some fun with it, right? But
yeah, if Kid's sister here, she relate a few stories about Tim Allen because her dad and him knew him in school.
There was this story that Tim Allen told that cracked me up a while back. This will tell you how long ago it was. This was back when Leno was still doing the Tonight Show. It was actually not long before he ended his reign. And Leno's been through a lot lately.
Catch Yourself on Fire is kind of like one of the...
And actually, after all that stuff happened to him while he was in recovery with the broken bones and everything, he actually did an episode of the I forget the name of it. It's a show run by Property Brothers, which is Celebrity IOU, which is them doing favors for people that are more everyday people connected to them that they want to help out and stuff like that. He actually did an episode there while he was in recovery from all those with still broken bones, and he's still out there trying to help him work on the house and stuff. And he was doing this for one of the kids, basically, that's trained under him. But you start seeing Leno's a nice guy.
Yeah,
he just is. But so the story he was telling was right after the second Santa Claus movie came out, right before all that, and he's talking about being awkward as, you know, the ex-prison guy trying to film with all these kids when he has social anxieties and not a big fan of children. And he says, I was freaking out. I hate doing these things. I hate being with a lot of kids. One or two I can handle, but when they get the room full of kids, it start bothering me. And the opening of the second Santa Claus movie is, at one point, there's like all the elves are like gathered around him and they're all huddled together trying to stay under radar and not get caught by things going by overhead. And so it's him in this room full of children and all these costumes trying to do this really serious scene, and everybody's got to be quiet and do certain facial expressions and everything. That's really hard to do with a bunch of little kids. It says it kept trying to film this, and every time I tried to film it, I kept getting more and more tense and more angry and more glitter. And every time we'd get partway through it, and one of the kids would screw up, and we'd have to do it again. And it was a few hours into trying to film this stupid scene, and we were just about to close it. We were so close to getting it right, and also one of the kids coughed, and all of a sudden I just yelled, "Fuck!" And he stops himself partway through the word on there because he's on air, and he goes, and also you could just hear the entire room stop, and all the kids stop, and also you hear, "What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?" Santa said, and they're like trying to, because he was in full Santa gear, surrounded by children when he yelled it.
Oh god!
It's like, oh shit, that's not going to go well.
Oh,
I don't know people.
Then when they're doing Galaxy Quest, him and Alan Rickman did not really get along.
They loved each other, though, by the time it was done.
Yeah, by the time it was done. But it's starting off, because Rickman is very much like Alexander Day. He's a serious actor. And he can identify with this guy's plight as being typecast as this goofy alien. Whereas Tim Allen and Chilton, they said, we brought our own discipline, which was to say none. So they're goofing off of it. And so the friction was not entirely acting. They did kind of, but when they're doing the scene where he's having to, when they explained to Balthazar that I'm not commander, it's how we entertain ourselves. We tell stories, and he really had to. I'm so sorry about that. And after that scene, he had to kind of, he needed a moment, because it was a really, and Rickman, I think he just experienced acting.
So Tim Allen's interesting because part of why he is the comedian the way he is, is because he had a dark childhood. He was arrested when he was 11 for joyriding and stealing cars. You knew that, right?
I didn't know about that part. I know he got busted for armed robbery later on.
Yeah, he also got busted for drug dealing. That's what he actually went to prison for.
That's right. Yeah.
He did have he had a lot of legal issues from about the age of 10 to about the age of 25. When he got out of jail, he was very foul-mouthed. See, this is where I find it so hypocritical that Disney has so much problems with him being Christian and more subtle now. And they're saying that this isn't appropriate for our channel. We're trying to be more family-friendly, and this is pushing religion and stuff. It's like, you hired him, based a sitcom off of his stand-up routine, and gave him a career based on an incredibly crass, sexist stand-up routine.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually have the link to the stand-up routine if you want to watch it.
Oh, I've heard it. Yeah.
They're both shows that they based Home Improvement on are together on this link.
Yeah.
And He talks at one point and goes very prison where he starts talking about how guys know what guys want. That's why you can get a better blowjob from a guy. You don't have to go, let go of my ears. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. He starts going, who knows how to fuck a guy better than a guy? And stuff like that. The guy, everyone in the audience is looking going,
like, think about it, okay?
And you can see, maybe I went too far on that one. All of a sudden,
it's a very short learning curve, okay? Yeah.
It's like, you think you went a little far on that one.
Yeah.
In both of those routines, he calls his newborn daughter a bitch from hell. And that was okay to give him a family show based on. Yeah. But being Christian is a bridge too far.
Well, they're talking about, he's always baffled by how the women could you put the towel in there and it's going to stay put. She could be up there doing roofing on when a windstorm is not going to come off. Where he try to get there and takes one step, whoop, there's the towel. There's Big Jim and the twins out there.
But it's true. It's absolutely true.
Wrap the towel around the head, comes out looking like a drunken Iraqi. It's,
So, I laughed my ass off at this stuff because people are like, look, we have our issues. He has grown a lot as a person.
Yeah.
The reason he got busted for stealing cars and all that shit is because he fell apart when his dad died when he was 11. And his dad died from a drunk driver. And he responded to losing his dad by going after vehicles because vehicles were responsible. And that's where he got into his car guy stuff, was actually through hating and loving cars at the same time because of what happened to his dad. So when you start seeing, there's some scenes, well, I know people laughed at Home Improvement and how silly and ridiculous it was. There's some serious scenes in that show that really deal with what he went through as a kid. They actually talked about his character was written as losing his dad when he was 11 to the drunk driver, in fact. So, I mean, do you know what bothered me the most about Home Improvement, though? Jill was fucking abusive. In fact, she hit him often.
Yeah.
One of them, she gets mad at him, and she's dropping croquet balls on his head through the drains. She was abusive.
There's very little doubt that he certainly wrote that skit.
I'm sure, but this double standard that women can be like that to a husband, but you can't do it in reverse. It's something that pisses me off. It always has.
I'm going to take a chance here. He's on Twitter. I'm sending him a link.
Oh, really?
What the hell? With the thing, want to scare the shit out of a couple of YouTubers?
Yeah, it would scare the shit out of me. I mean,
would be fun. That's going to be a case of I'm going to call up Kid Sister. Get on my channel right fucking now, okay?
I have been a fan of Tim Allen for most of my life, but some of the episodes where they dealt with certain things, you really actually saw deep acting and real emotion.
Yeah,
like the one where they dealt with the possibility of cancer for the son. When they found the lump and they were having to get it tested. That episode is gut-wrenching, and I'm sorry, whether or not people thought he was a real actor because it was a silly show, the emotions in that episode he did very well.
Sitcoms often they'll bring those heart-wrenching because you're already suckered in by the humor and stuff, and you're open for whatever comes at you.
All the people who joke about Sinbad being just a silly comedian, do they remember half of the episodes of A Different World? It was a pretty dark sitcom, actually. And they had one episode that directly dealt with one of their classmates turned out to be a serial rapist that was attacking the women on campus. I mean, that was actually one of the episodes, and they directly said he was. And they actually very pointedly had it happening.
No, there was an episode of, Only Fools and Horses, British sitcom, crazy shit. But there's one thing, one of the characters gets married, and they at the reception at the pub, and they're starting to break up, and it's like, hey, and they're playing Simply Red, rolling back the tears, I think it was. And it's just kind of like, that's in front of an audience. So but David Jason, the stars, nobody's laughing. No, nobody's laughing because they're all crying.
There are some episodes of those shows that really.
They were talking about All in the Family one time, thing about some of the stuff they did on there. And they all laughing. Oh, Archie the biggest. I mean, one time he was insistent on getting his grandson baptized in the church. And
he definitely crossed the line in that episode a lot.
Yeah, but he practically he's supposed to babysit. He takes the kid down to the church. And the priest is that guy. I'm not with the priest, I'm sure they're Lutheran or whatever, or
minister, I think, minister or pastor, depending on which church.
It wasn't Catholic, but it was one of the older Protestant ones where they're still, And
depending on the church, it's minister or pastor.
Archie, we're not going to do it without the parents' permission, okay? So, figure something else out. And Archie just they're there by the little mount, the opening. Okay. He does it himself. Yeah. And dips his hand in the thing, and baptizes you, and then, oh, God, I hope that's good, because when I get home, I'm going to be in big trouble.
He knew what he was doing.
That's how the end of the episode.
And the next episode started with them all being pissed at him, too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, come here, ornery.
Remember that a big thing when Archie was again babysitting the kid, and they went back and forth about how to stage this thing. They wanted the actual baby there, and they didn't want to just like he's playing with a doll. They wanted to be actually playing with the baby, so make it some real reactions here. But you had to have the camera up high so you can see into the crib, and the whole changing the diaper thing.
Yep, and that you can't actually see it all.
Yeah. And there was a special with Norman Lear, sort of a retrospective of the whole, series and how it came about. But they did that scene, and he froze it right there. Wait, right there. Ladies and gentlemen, full frontal male nudity on network television.
Mm-hmm.
I got a good laugh because it's a baby. It's, on the screen it's a blur. But
Ornery's having a conniption because I had to move her so I could get something off the floor, and she was on my feet.
Yeah.
So now she's absolutely livid and mad at me.
Yeah. But I remember watching that episode at the time. Nobody was crazy. Oh my God, it's a baby. No one thought of thinking in those terms.
I hope they weren't thinking of it in those terms, because if they were, they're pretty sick people.
Yeah, because that wasn't until that thing with Norman Lear. So, hey, look at here. Full frontal male nudity. And they had it paused on that moment where they look down there. There's little baby Joey. Spread eagle to the world while Archie's trying to get a diaper.
Yeah. And I didn't think of it in that way. I thought of it as, I've seen guys trying to deal with the baby like that.
It's honest TV. Okay, back.
Let's be honest. Most men are not as good at doing that stuff as women are.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to acknowledge that stuff, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Despite what these raging feminazis would make you think.
Uh-huh.
It's okay to acknowledge that each gender has its own skills and abilities. Ornery is absolutely pissed at me.
Yeah.
Kind of funny, actually.
I remember when Rush Limbaugh coined the term feminazi, he said there's only maybe a dozen actual feminazi. They're not beyond hardcore feminists, but actual what you go on feminazis, where they're taking kind of a fascist approach towards feminist movement. There may be a dozen of them in the world. So
there's way more than that now.
Now there are. They've multiplied some of it.
It's like, you know what? In some ways,
no, he's not calling every feminist feminazi. That's a term reserved for a very few.
In some ways, I still consider myself a recovering feminist. There was a lot of the feminist stuff I bought into pretty hard for a while.
Yeah.
And the more I got into it, and the more I got to know them, the more I realized it was all bullshit.
Yeah.
And they didn't give a shit about me. They were using me.
Yeah.
Like any other group, especially when the feminists get their hooks on any woman that's a marginalized group. You're there because you're going to prop their numbers up. You're going to make them look good. It's not about caring about you. It's about caring about their own egos.
And I think that's branching into just any of these totalitarian movements. Or there's, and again, if someone's going, why are you? Because one thing I got kids just go, if it's not happening in your house, why do you care? It's like, well, because I'm a caring human being, okay? It's just, like, she was calling me on the carpet for, the indie stuff. And it's like, look, because I happen to care for this person. Like, they're just going to stand by and watch them self-destruct,
Do I think people have a choice to do that stuff to themselves? Yes.
Yeah.
Does that mean I'm not going to say, I think you're hurting yourself if I see somebody I care about doing that stuff?
Yeah.
No.
It's like I want to at least be, I'm not going to be one of those affirmation type things. Like, yes, queen, you can fly. You're a bird. You think you're a bird. You're a bird. Go on, fly off that roof. It's like, no, I'm going to say, no, get off the roof. You're a dummy. Let's get down there and discuss why you think you're a fucking bird. The whole thing of, it's not happening to your thing. Why do you care? That's the kind of thing that why this place is going to hell in a handbasket. Nobody cares. In fact, I managed to call around part. If I'm shooting up testosterone in my house, and I'm just, it's like if I'm not doing it in front of you, and I had to call that. Okay, we've seen what testosterone does to you. She was on, just a testosterone gel for treating an injury. Very low dosage. And there was a time we're coming out of Walmart and something about the way it was loading something into the back of the van set her off, and I got to look at her like she's going to rip up my liver through my nose. I've never seen that kind of, I pissed her off plenty of times, but that level of rage, like, okay, yeah, and I said, yeah, the testosterone's going to, but and she cut herself, but whoa.
Okay, one sec here.
So if she was getting on the levels where it's like actually putting changes, it's like, holy fuck.
Okay.
We're going to see her viking answers to come out in full force at that point.
All men have some levels of estrogen. All women have some levels of testosterone.
It's those levels.
But it's not just a joke when they talk about the extreme behaviors. Our bodies are not designed to handle the hormones of the other gender as well. Women do not handle testosterone as well as men do, and men do not handle estrogen as well as women do. And there was a cheesy ass movie called John Tucker Must Die, which is one of those revenge movies for teenagers, which is it's a funny movie. But one of the points in it, they're screwing with this athlete that screwed him all over by putting estrogen in his sports drinks. And oh my God, he comes unglued, bawling on court, yelling at people, and I'm sort of like, that actually would happen.
It's debatable how well men handle testosterone. Okay,
your bodies and your mental reactions handle it better than women do. Though.
Better, but still, it does. It can result in some fucked up behavior if like roid rage type of thing. But it's like if even guys have problems with it sometimes, imagine the girls. It's like because one of the effects is it's also a major antidepressant. That's why a lot of them, when they get on it, they feel on top of the world. Yes, I'm going to. We got a friend up in Boulder who trans several years ago, and heard about this from actually our gay friend up there. Was up there, and it was a nice, fairly pleasant, really. Apparently turned into a misogynistic asshole. Went the one on the testosterone thing. And that's what I said. Yeah, testosterone is a mind-altering substance. Okay, not to be handled lightly.
Estrogen is too, by the way.
Yeah. Oh,
when people talk about progesterone, also birth control pills do a lot more damage medically, mentally, and emotionally to women than they actually let on. And even taking them for hormone therapy because my body doesn't produce it correctly.
Yeah.
When I'm on those pills, I make a PMSing woman look like a calm day at the beach.
Yeah, if the body's not producing it normally, it's a real trick trying to get the dosage right.
It's not even that. Even if you get the dosage right, your body has to go through the spike in order to take it. Yeah. I have to go through it every couple of months in order to have any feminine function. Well, that also means that it has to kick some hormones into me to make my body do things it's not doing correctly. Well, that also means they're kicking hormones into me in a 10-day period to replace what I lost in 2 months.
Means periodically hubby has to go hide for a while.
When they finally figured out the PCOS was there, I had so much damage and so much bleeding and other things that they put me on high dosages of it for months. There got to points where he'd come in from work and I'd say hi and he'd throw chocolate at me, run in the other room and go and talk to me when you eat this. It's like, honey, come back here. That's how you eat that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, just put down the Whitman sampler, back away slowly. Don't hurt me.
I tell my friends that, they all laugh and go, see, he had good survival instincts.
Yeah.
Like, I was going through physical hell.
Yeah.
And everything that I went through was an intenser version of what women go through. So you add basically that time of the month, PMSing, throw in the hormones that you get when you're in labor, pregnant, even though I wasn't. And because of all the damage in my body trying to shed it, I was going through mock labor pains every so many minutes for approximately 13 months. And then during this time, they were pumping me full of hormones and doing medical treatments. Including one of them, which was, let's put a clamp across one of the cysts that's inflamed and bleeding, and then cut a biopsy out of it. I was very bitchy during this time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I feel like I should apologize to every person who knew me in that part of my life.
I imagine many threats of physical violence are involved. I was reminded when the estrogen. Remember, my dad got to a point where let's just say he was not circumcised as a child, and in later years, this does become a problem in some guys where it's no longer stretchy. It becomes a little harder to do things. So he had to get snipped in his later years. Yeah. Well, the night he gets back from the hospital, and he's in bed. An episode of Tia Leone's sitcom, The Naked Truth, involves one of the characters has to go into the hospital for something. There's a mix-up. Instead of, what he got for, he got circumcised. Given the circumstances around us, my mom and I are laughing our asses off, and my dad, who was watching on the TV in the bedroom, is like, shut up! Because we're finding it really funny.
And I don't care that I'm splurging and eating a little candy because this stuff I have not seen before in the store. This is, Willy Wallaby's licorice.
Okay.
This is licorice infused with massive amounts of cinnamon and really spicy.
Okay. Not a licorice fan myself. But the plot is, in order to help the healing recovery, they're filling him up with estrogen. And he's being all psyched and maybe,
Now, the other reason I brought up the hormone therapy is because my bi-monthly hormone therapy starts tonight. So just to warn you what I'll be like the next couple weeks.
Okay.
I have to take them for 10 days. About the time I hit about the 7th day, I'm starting to get really bitchy. That does not ebb until I'm about 2 weeks later as I'm coming down from the stuff it induces.
Well, I'm going to try just to warn you. My uses of hours anyways.
Just to warn you, if I get a little bitchy in that time, it's not you, it's me.
Yeah. Okay. Now that we got that clear.
Which also I think might explain to a lot of people why I've had some of my weird freakouts and moody points over the last few years when I've been doing this stuff. If you pay attention, they happen about every 2 months. Just saying. When I did have natural female function, I actually didn't get PMS. I actually got really calm that time. It's about the only time I was calm. I was bitchy the rest of the time, and I was calm for about a day before. But yeah, that's hormone induced. Nope, it's bitch.
Oh man.
Okay, sarah, right?
Yeah. Okay, we got a choice of on cat for Vanity Fair. Who's hotter, Phoebe Waller-Bridge or Sarah Jessica Parker?
I never thought Parker was pretty. I always thought she looked like she had a horse mouth.
Yeah. Well, compared to Phoebe Waller-Bridge, frankly, I think, yeah, I'll probably go for Sarah.
I don't even know who that is.
We got a show in England, Fleabag, but she's the big, the female lead in the new Indiana Jones movie.
So I still won't know who that is because I refuse to watch Indiana Jones and the Raging Twat from Hell.
Yeah, well, that's her, the Raging Twat from Hell. Yeah. And Kelly Cadigan is just shit posting, I think.
And Steph heard my comment.
Yeah. Oh, that's cute.
I never have to wonder if Steph likes my comments because there's always about 5 seconds after I make a really inappropriate comment, I hear her laugh from the other room.
Yep. There's a meme. Heterosexuals keeping the species going for the last 3 million years, so you could pretend you're a woman. Oh boy.
Cinnamon and licorice both have healing qualities. A lot of them, in fact. In fact, they're really good for your cleansing your organs and for your blood function in your heart. So in small amounts, even the sugared stuff, if you get ones that are less sugar and more natural, can still have health benefits. I also put massive amounts of cinnamon and licorice into a lot of my teas because of the health benefits.
I used to eat a lot of cinnamon bread, cinnamon toast.
I like cinnamon. Yum, 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 yum.
Like, I think we still got a jar of cinnamon sugar mixtures, specifically for cinnamon toast.
So, wow, we have been streaming a couple hours.
Yeah, ideal Supreme Court, all Clarence Thomas. Okay, that's it.
I am glad that they removed race quotas. Bite me those who... I will say also, it has really unmasked the racists on both sides online.
Yeah.
Holy shit, the stuff they're both saying. I didn't really realize there was that many white people who really thought minorities couldn't do it on their own.
Oh, yeah. It's Erica, what's her face?
Oh, her post going, I apologize for how it came off, and my response to her was, apology not accepted, racist.
There's a translation. I'm sorry for revealing that this is our plan for keeping the black folks on the plantation. We wouldn't have got away with it, too. Except
can I also point out, I am sick and tired of every single person's post acting like the only people affected by this are people who are white or black. Like, somehow Asians, Hispanics, Natives, and others don't freaking exist.
Or that certain minorities haven't been discriminated against, like Asians.
The thing is that the entire racial quotas for the college system and the entire way affirmative action was put into schools is extremely racist. And it is literally saying that your IQ is a measure of what we think the intelligence of your race is. And so each of these races has different measures that they have to reach to be able to get into the schools, because we all know that we're not equal and you're not the same and you're not as intelligent as us, or you seem to be really good at this, so we're going to handicap you at it. It's like the whole system's incredibly racist. It's literally saying that you're a sum of your race and you are nothing on your own.
Yeah.
Oh, and big surprise, once I, loaded up my husband's page and peeked at what McFadden was doing, she was whining about that, setting us backwards and how minorities can't make it and stuff.
Just
big surprise, racist bitch.
Hey, there's been quite a bit of progress since, the 70s. Okay.
Can we also just acknowledge
certain programs do have to, it's no longer, it's now counterproductive. Stop it.
I think she realized who I was, because I've not commented to her directly on this account ever, and she's got me blocked
already. Yeah.
So I think she realized who I am, and that I'm the one that pissed her off and get her to do that. But yeah, I'm sorry. My brother, who does not like fandom or CG, who's kind of in the tank on a lot of the SJW shit. He doesn't like her for the racist shit she said to me. And as he likes the new Trek shit. Yeah. And even he's going, I can like her character and not like her. I really don't like her. It's like, no. Even he's going, nope, that's too far. She's a dumb racist bitch. She needs to shut up and just act. It's like, thank you.
That is one thing. It's like, Twitter has been the worst thing to happen for the Star Trek casts, very thing. Because too many real themselves be total idiots.
Not idiots, bigots.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, I've known since the 90s that Kate Mulgrew was a flaming bitch. And she was a bigot and she was sexist as hell and a raging feminazi. And she is. Yeah. And I didn't like her then. And I knew she was abusive as hell to Jerry Ryan, but Jerry Ryan's turning into a piece of shit too. Yeah. And she's out there saying that if you don't support full gun control, then block me. It's like, good, fuck off and block me, bitch. Making these absolutely bigoted comments and basically making it sound like minorities can't be trusted with guns, the way she was phrasing half of her comments. I'm like, you know what, bitch? I defended you, but I'm done. Go suck that one and shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Now, on one of Eric Idle's threads, some guy, came up with some of the comments. You got more guns than most militaries. What the hell? And I can actually having more guns in the hands of civilians than the military was kind of the point of the Second Amendment. It's the theory goes it's a good way to keep the government honest.
I always love when they try to misuse the militia line because A, that's not tied to the armed civilian part.
There
B,
was no national
militia also includes anything from neighborhood watches to private citizen groups that are doing security and protection.
Yeah, this comment
are also militias.
Wrote the thing at the time, and who was the militia? Everybody. If you're old enough to shoulder a weapon and you're not crazy, you're part of the militia.
And honestly, I have a problem with scapegoating mental illness because when people do that, they're lumping all together. Most mental illnesses do not make you violent. Yeah. They do not increase your violence. Yeah. Like one of the ones that they commonly try to make sound like it's going to make you violent is bipolar. It doesn't do that.
No.
The only thing that bipolar does is it heightens what's already in you. It makes your highs and your lows much more extreme and the depression caused by them more extreme. That's what it does. If you are violent and you have bipolar issues, the violence is in you. It's not the bipolar.
Yeah, Sticks Hexenheimer 666 pointed him. The whole thing about banned for mentally ill. No. Because one thing is our estimation of mental illness is not the same as the founders would have put. Everything under the sun now there is a mental illness, and plus you're putting your fate into the hands of those who make the determination of what qualifies as a mental illness. And I think we've shown that on the other side, they will determine your political beliefs as a mental illness.
There's also another side effect on that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mental illness also makes you more likely to be targeted for actual hate crimes and violence.
Yeah.
Same with disability. Mm-hmm. Those who have those issues are more likely to be targeted for violence and are more in need of defensive weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something people don't talk about.
Yeah.
And, to all you Trump kiss asses, he did everything he could to lower gun rights while claiming to be for them.
Well, I think all he did was he went along with the bump stock ban, and that was bounced out of court anyway.
He pushed that, and there were several other things. Several times he's tried to push things on mental health, to enforce red flags, all this stuff. He's with the Democrats on that. He just played it. The NRA backed him like hell because they've got ties everywhere to Norquest and CARE and Muslim Brotherhood and everything else.
Yeah.
The NRA is bullshit.
No, the NRA, they're getting worthless.
And absolutely fucking Trump is bullshit on that too. He is not for gun rights. I don't care. I find it absolutely ridiculous all these gun groups backed him when he did everything he could to restrict them in every way that they opposed when Obama and Biden have done it.
I kind of like one defense going on there, assault weapon ban. They go after AR-15s. It's like, the AR-15 is more common than the F-150 pickup truck. And you can't target a weapon because part of the thing is like when they went after sawed-off shotguns back in the 20s. That was, it's not a common weapon. You can't go because this is the most common.
That was because, though, it was actually illegally modifying it and making it unstable. Yeah. That's a little different than saying I just want to ban a company because I don't like their weapon.
Yeah. That's what they're trying to do, though. They're using it as an excuse to go after it. But it's like, because the thing is, you can't go after
assault rifle. Armor light rifle. Yeah. Armor light. It's a fucking brand label.
Armor light rifle model 15.
And it is the same freaking weapon as most hunting rifles.
Yeah. A Ruger Mini 14. Same ammo, same basic action. And a bunch of other things.
One looks black and military and scary, and one looks like an old West gun. So they assume one's weak and one's scary. And it's like, they're the same freaking thing.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, weapons of war should not be. No military in the world carries an AR-15 into battle.
That reminds me of when Obama was whining about they're clinging to the past and the bayonets in the military. We still use bayonets, you dumb fuck.
Yeah, he pissed off a lot of people with that one because you want to check the guys at the Tomb of the Unknowns. They got fixed bayonets on those rifles.
Bayonets are really handy. It's defensive. So if you get somebody attacks you while you're shooting, you can stab them.
Yeah. It's like, so you're not wasting a bullet. Or if you're out of bullets.
Well, also, if they're too close, you can't aim and shoot.
Yeah, but you can poke them. Yeah. They still do bayonet training. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The AR-15, the M16 is not the greatest weapon for it, but more suited for an M14.
I just find all this stuff ridiculous at measure. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I just went on a tirade about Trump and then ranted about Obama. That should tell you what I feel about this. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're all ridiculous on both sides if you think your big government's better than the other. Yeah. I've been telling people since I was a kid that we have progressive right and progressive left. They both want a big government run their way.
Yeah.
They're the same shitbird. Enjoy your wings.
Mm-hmm.
2 wings on the same shitbird. Guess what? They're nothing good there.
It will be amusing if Trump and RFK Jr. do reach a deal and hook up on the ticket. If they can bury it that much. I'm not sure it would work ultimately, but it would be hilarious to watch.
While we're at it, all these people who bitched about the Bidens constantly and how much of a slap in the wrist Hunter's getting. Guess what? That was Trump's nomination, and the guy that he backed and put in there that did that gave Hunter the slap on the wrist and got him reduced on everything.
Yeah.
This is kabuki as hell, and people don't see it. It's freaking.
Judicial nominees have a tendency to bite you in the ass, though, because
I gotta admit,
like
Sotomayor has not been what Obama thought she was going to be.
No, and Earl Warren was Dwight Eisenhower's biggest regret. And nominate him for the Supreme Court. Oh my God, I wish I could have done that over, because he was a total disappointment. So this was a so-and-so appointee. That only goes so far.
Well, it wasn't just that it was an appointee. It's how big of a deal that Trump made putting that guy in to the courts, and how much this guy had all these ties to him and this history with him, and they touted how much he loved him and all this. Yeah. That's what makes it ridiculous to me.
Well, that's what Trump always does, though. Oh, he's the best. He's world class. He's gonna, we're gonna, it's a sell job.
Because he's a snake oil salesman. Just look at his Trump University. He's a fucking fraud. I don't know how people can't see it. Like, no matter what stupid thing he does, it's no. His is a 4D chess thing. He meant to do that. Yeah, sure. Go crawl up in your kafifis.
They did deliver on a lot of things that other people talked about, like, moving the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem type of thing. Like, they've been promising that since Israel was formed.
Yes, but to a degree he did. To a degree he did.
And I think building the wall. Went through a whole bunch of shit to get started.
He did not fight for that as much as he played himself off as fighting for it. He didn't. And very little of it got done. And it was, I don't believe he ever intended to, because he still uses Mexican and Chinese labor on his products and in his businesses. So he pushed Buy American to everybody while he had Made in China labels on his merchandise. He's a freaking hack. Now, again, there were times he'd do things that I'd go, great, that was actually intelligent. And then the moment he'd do it, he'd start tweeting about it, and you realize nothing about his choice to do that was intelligent. He either went along with what they told him to do, or he did it because in some way it would benefit him. And he revealed this every freaking time, and you're sitting there going, just shut the fuck up and stop tweeting. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. It's like, I will give credit. Every president has done at least a good thing. No matter how bad they were, there's something they did that wasn't bad.
I'm still waiting for this one to do something.
There were a couple, I can't remember them right now, but there were a couple things they pointed out actually were consistent and good. And one of them had to do with cracking down on, one of them actually did crack down on predators in one of them. But it's like, yeah, he has done a couple decent things. I don't think he's intelligent. I don't think he realized he did good things, but he's still a flaming racist. But I give him credit when they do something right. And every so often, in every presidency, every so often I'll post something going, you know what? I hate the fucker, but you got to give him this.
But so much of it is like when Biden signed the thing of protecting marriage for racial and stuff. Has this been a problem anywhere for the past 40 years?
Well, it's like they made this big deal about making it sound like this huge civil rights thing for black women with their hair in workplaces. And it's never been an issue for black women with their hair in workplaces. Do you know where the hair issue in workplaces has been an issue? Refusing to hire or firing Native men for not cutting it off in places where women were allowed to have it. When it's part of the religion. That's where it's been an issue. But no, they didn't even acknowledge that. No, it's all about women power. It's like, shut the fuck up. Shut up, bitch.
Meanwhile, they're also.
And then they sit there and go, it's about defending our natural hair. And they had the nerve to have Rachel Dolezal as the one to give that speech. That's not her natural hair. She's a fucking blonde bitch. She's pretending to be black.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to finish that tirade.
I know.
I hate that bitch so much.
Oh, God. It's like, why? What do you mean pretending? But bitch, we got your 4th grade picture. You look like Swiss.
Both of her parents came out and said there's no black in our heritage. She's making this shit up publicly. Both of her parents.
Yeah, and they trot out her school pictures. It's like she's as blonde as they come. We don't know what happened.
She's addicted to Tanner, apparently.
No, but she identifies so strongly with the black community. No, you don't. It's another one of those immutable things. Unless you've actually been there, you don't know. Okay. What I've been reading about, men do not know what it's like to be a woman. Women do not
And
know.
fuck Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Elizabeth Warren has no fucking clue what it means to be an Indian. Okay.
And these people go, she did a genetic test that proved that. It's like, first of all, even if I agreed with those tests, which I still say they're bunk science, there's been no DNA studies done on native tribes, which means there's nothing to base them on. First of all. Second of all, the percent they claim that she is about 1/30th of the margin of error.
Yeah, it's like a rounding error.
Third of all, the person who did it was an ex-coworker of hers who's a friend of hers.
And if even that, they can't get above, good, it's like.
So, like, I believe a damn shit thing he says anyways.
Yeah.
Fourth of all, just because she has somebody say, oh, I'm pretty sure there's a minute blood trace somewhere. She's trying to play on that whole 80% blood is us.
Yeah, you'd have the
No,
same,
you're
same
not.
percentage
There's no-
everyone has
no.
of Genghis Khan, okay? When he went rampaging, that,
There's no way in hell, and I don't believe for a minute, if we trace this world far enough, I believe every single person in this world has at least the small blood proportion of every other race.
Yeah, that's why I just got a lot
Because
of
there's too much intermingling for too many centuries and millenniums, and most of it we have no documentation of. We have no idea where people were most of this time.
Yeah.
There's migration and travel, and even back in the caveman days, the different caveman races were intermingling.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know fuck all from fuck all who's what race fully.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing as pure blood anything.
No.
And to sit there and go, well, we might have a minute trace that we might be able to. No. Now, do I think that means it's okay for people to go, well, you're only a quarter, you're not really this? No, that's wrong. That's fucking racist. Shut the fuck up. But there is such a thing as they're not that. They're looking for it as an excuse to get away with stuff. She took tribal funds for college. She stole money from poor natives. Fuck that fucking bitch.
She also used to be an Indian.
Yeah, she used claiming to be an Indian to get in, even though she didn't have the grades to do it, because they seem to think that we need coddled getting into colleges, that we need it to be lowered because we don't have the IQ to get in on our own. Which is why I have never in my life ever fucking filled out the part that asks race on any application to any job or school. Because fuck you if you're going to judge whether or not I'm qualified based on that.
Yeah.
But the fact is, I can get away with that and nobody can see what I really am. Not everybody has that ability. And while I revile the people who throw white passing around at me, because usually, most of my life, it's cost me more looking too white for being pale than I've gained. In the regards of college, I didn't have to deal with all the racial shit.
Yeah.
Until it slipped out because I was talking to the native staff down at the college that I actually was. And that somehow, as soon as it got around the college that I was, it was the next day that the cops in that city started stalking me for the next 6 months.
Oh boy.
Well, that was North Idaho, so guess what? One of the most racist towns in this country is been statistically since I was a child through a few years ago here. Every time polls are done,
Coeur d'Alene,
Sandpoint, just above Coeur d'Alene. And Coeur d'Alene is where I met my husband and where I was in college. So yeah. Welcome to my life, right?
Oh yeah.
And yeah, Coeur d'Alene was where the cops were always stalking me. I couldn't walk from my apartment a few blocks over to work without them passing me like 8 times watching me. It was unnerving.
Yeah. Well, when you're at the home of the Aryan nations, guess what?
Yeah.
That makes sense a lot that someone would be on the police force.
My mom and dad went up there to see me, meet me, and go around the area. Now, my dad was a big fan of the writing of Patrick F. McManus. He writes about his childhood in Sandpoint. Dad went up there to see where he grew up. They did not stay up there long. Dad never was the person who thought everyone was looking at him differently for his race.
Yeah.
He could feel the tension in the people staring at him and Mom. He could feel the hatred of the mixed couple.
Nice town. We can't stay long. Bye.
Yeah. They basically bailed the hell out of that town in a few minutes after seeing how people were reacting to them.
Like, those books make much more sense now. Okay. I'm going to grab another soda here.
It did. Yeah, it did kind of have that response. Yes.
Slide out of range of the camera so we don't see anything you're not supposed to see here. Damn it. Stupid slipper. All right.
And I still love McManus's books, but it does explain a lot. It does.
Again, I'm not putting on pants. Okay. So. It's too hot. I'm not putting on pants. Okay. No.
And I'm not eating on camera. 1 second. Yeah.
So we don't hear her chewing. All right. Yeah, let's see. Why do you have to go and make things so complicated? I see the way you're acting like you're somebody else gets me frustrated. Life's like this. You fall and you crawl and you break and you take what you get and you turn it into honesty and promise me you're never gonna find you faking. No. Yeah, I'm not sure I'll be able to do a decent karaoke version of that.
Yeah, at least your karaoke of that is not as bad as the karaoke of Wild Hogs, where they had one of the guys in the little redneck town up on stage trying to sing Pussycat Dolls songs. Actually, it's not as bad as one of the karaoke's I actually witnessed in person. One of the biggest, burliest black guys I'd ever seen, skipping around the stage, singing Around the World, going la la la. And I'm sitting in the audience trying so hard not to laugh, going, trying to fake cough, everything else going, I must not laugh. I must not laugh. Holy shit, this is funny.
Yeah, I think if I'm actually doing it and I'll pick something more of my range, Hank Jr., Toby Keith, I'm not as good as I once was.
No! Larry, don't even think it!
What?
Just trying to attack the tree of the beadwork. I have.
Got a few years on me now. But there was a time back in that time when I could really lay it down. But if you want some love tonight, I think I got just enough. I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. Thinking about sending that as a retort to some of Indy's comments on my application.
I might have to get off the stream because Ormy's acting like she's getting really angry that I'm not giving her attention.
And you got food, which makes it worse.
And yeah, I've got food, and it's got her favorite meat in it. So that's gonna make her even worse.
Yeah,
because he made me chicken quesadillas. She has a little bit of an obsession with chicken. I like it because we can make these and actually make them relatively low carb and fat and a lot of protein without a lot of junk in them.
And Anya likes because it's chicken.
I don't like the white meat, so we use chicken thigh.
Actually, I think that chicken I got in the bottom drawer should be thawed out by now. I better do that pretty soon.
So I think I'm going to get off so I can have a little time to deal with her.
All right.
You have a very, very good night.
All right. I think I'm going to wrap this up here because if I do any more Toby Keith, this is going to get demonetized. He is doing good though. His stomach cancer is under control and getting smaller. And he showed up during sound check and just turned out a full on concert really. So he's getting better. He should be fine.
I actually didn't know any of that because I don't follow country. So
yeah, he's been fighting stomach cancer for a while.
Wasn't he
lost a lot of weight, but he kind of needed to lose some weight, but not like this.
Was Toby Keith the one that married Kidman after she got away from Cruz?
No, that was Keith Urban.
Okay, I have trouble keeping him straight. I don't know country well.
I don't think Toby's married.
All right, well, I'm gonna jet. Have a good night.
No, he did. Courtesy of the red, white, and blue.
Bye-bye.
All right, and I think it's probably a good time for me to wrap up here. I think I will do a couple of karaoke things just to do them. But yeah, to recap, the First Amendment case, there's more to it than just, wow, if you got a business, you're going to take the everybody. The bakery thing is not a normal business. You are asking someone to make an artistic statement of either a cake or a floor arrangement type thing. And by doing this, you're asking them to put their reputation and name on this thing that they don't necessarily approve. And that is where you cross the line into First Amendment issues. This isn't like going down to to Safeway and buying a sheet cake. They don't care. They'll put whatever they want on it because it's Safeway. They don't put the individual baker's thing. But if you're going for a wedding cake, which can cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in some cases, then you're dragging them into your fight, and that is where they cross the line. And as for affirmative action, this has been a problem for 40 years. People have plenty of white guys, perfectly, they've been bounced because of some less qualified black guy got in. And cited Elizabeth Warren, gamed the system. She should not have gotten it, but this is how she got her thing in college. Anyway. And the obligatory references to Indy and her problems. So anyway, that's far as I'm going on that. So I'm going to pull the plug here, and I'm going to put a proper capper on this here. Where are you? Hold on. Whoops. Hold on. Let me see. I'm not big on just pull the plug and boop. That's it. No, I want a proper end cap on this here. And almost there. Part of the problem, doing it live. And there we go. We will talk at you later, kids.
That's all, folks.